Jarvis, drop my needle.
Hello, this is the hardcore legend Mick Foley, and if you are interested in listening to idiots, you came to the right place. Have a nice day.
Woo! That's an attention getter.
He's a very strange young man.
He's an idiot.
What we're dealing with here is a complete lack of respect for the law.
Oh my God, he's an idiot.
You know, of course, that you're out of your jurisdiction.
Personally, I think you're an idiot.
But that's the evidence in the car.
But I was going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
Always like to keep my audience riveted.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, friends and fiends, and welcome to Free Range Idiocy, the podcast about everything, but mostly just the stuff we like. When it comes to music, there are some instruments and musicians that don't seem to get as much love as the others. In spite of their importance to the overall sound, they sit in the shadows, quietly going about their business and keeping the songs rolling. No more, I say, no more. We are here to bring a light to our personal favorite instrument of ours, the bass. We'll be running down our favorite and, in our opinion, most important bassist in this episode 210, Mount Bassmore. I am your Uncle Todd, and with me, as always, is the man who has yet to change the strings on his bass in the last decade and a half. He has been my partner in Idiocy for over 2 decades and swears the steak grease on the strings is the secret to his tone. I give you the man they call Tim.
Rising up, back on the street, did my time, took my chances, went the distance, now I'm back on my feet. Just a man and his will to survive. So many times, it happens too fast. You trade your passion for glory. Don't lose your grip on the dreams of the past. You must fight just to keep them alive.
Jeez.
It's the eye of the tiger. It's the thrill of the fight. Rising up to the challenge of our rival. And the last known survivor stalks his prey in the night. And he's watching us all with the eye of the tiger. Greetings and salutations, my friend. How are you?
I never really thought about it, but they managed to work the name of the band in to the lyrics in a very subtle way without, it's not like in the, hey, we're Bad Company and we're doing a song called Bad Company. Like they kind of slid it in there in a nice sort of like, here's a little Easter egg for you.
Indeed. This, sir, was a special selection for you and Mrs. Uncle Todd.
Well, thank you.
Say that.
Very much appreciate that. Yeah, it's been a hot minute since we've done one of these recordings. Been dealing with a few family personal issues, and we'll leave it at that. But it's good to be back, sir.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Back at it, crazy and silly as ever.
Well,
and of course, brand loyal, idiotic.
Yep. And we're going to be talking about some bassist here in the show. What I feel is basically the the offensive line of usually the band landscape, like the unsung heroes. If you're pointing them out, usually it's because something went really wrong. And otherwise they just kind of fly under the radar. But we're not going to do that because we have 2 bass guitarists here of some level of skill and renown. And wow, you really
I'm trying to walk the bass in this small, like tiny frame that I have.
I was going to say, like that's like some serious stuff if you have your strap up there.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh my God. I'm slapping the bass. Paul Rudd, ladies and gentlemen, Paul Rudd taking air bass playing to the next level.
I'm just going to pretend that didn't happen. Is that all right?
Haven't you ever seen Paul Rudd do that? Where he's like, hold on. He's like,
no.
Oh, come on, man. It's good stuff.
I'm sorry. I just never saw it.
All right. Rush was in that movie too.
Accusatory.
I'm trying to remember the movie.
What movie was that?
I Love You, Man. That's what it is.
Oh.
Him and Jason Segel.
Interesting.
And the band Rush is in it. So.
Well, and you mentioned that before, but thank you for mentioning it again.
Did I mention the band Rush is in there, sir? See, 2 weeks, and I've already worn them down. Sorry.
I'm just going to get a bottle and put a straw in it. How are you doing, sir?
Oh, wonderful. Doing well. I am
excellent.
Physically operating at a high peak performance after last week's moving of my eldest to the new apartment. So yeah, I'm feeling good. I didn't throw out a cervical, a spinal issue or anything like that. Back is good. Legs held up 3 flights of stairs up, down. Survived the Chicago heat. Didn't have a big one while I was, none of these.
Did you know? So for years that was part of Red Fox, not just on on Sanford and Son, but apparently that was part of his shtick.
Yeah,
it's a fake heart attack and a pratfall. Dude died of a heart attack because people thought it was a bit.
Oh,
like they kind of delayed on getting him help because they thought he was it's Red doing his thing, and no, he's actually having
yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh boy.
Yeah. It's home a little hard.
Indeed.
Indeed. But I'm just glad that you were able to dispose of the desk and it was not the same ordeal as the recliner that you had.
Nope. Broke it down into nice size pieces that allowed it to fit in the back of the truck.
Nice.
And yeah, we were on our way, and we have one kid fully done with education. So now it is out into the real world we go.
I was telling Mrs. Uncle Todd about your recliner and us trying to dispose of that thing. I was like, it was like trying to get a cat into a bathtub. Like it was like gripping the sides of the dumpster. Like, I don't want to go.
Yep.
That thing fought right till the end.
It did.
I think we had like a pole or a broom or something where we were trying to like get it over the edge and into the dumpster.
I need to find it, but we actually took a picture afterwards after getting it into the dumpster, where we stood around the dumpster with our heads hung low because it was such a piece of furniture from
it was the end of an era.
The time you and I shared an apartment, it was almost like
where did you get that?
A 2 or 3 year period from the time I graduated, about 2 year period from the time I graduated to the time I moved out to Chicago. So.
Where did you have that? Where did that chair come from? Was that like did you have that before we moved in? Because it seemed like it had some history already. Because I remember you would be in that chair and all of a sudden it would recline of its own volition while you were playing.
Oh yeah. Here's the sad thing. I'm trying to remember if this was something I picked up when I was because I started my college years started at the University of Connecticut, and then I moved home after 2 years to pursue.
You had to get away from the mean streets of Greenwich. That was
I did. I didn't want to get involved with the mean street posse. So, but
you could have been Joey Abs.
I am the furthest thing from Joe. Well, I don't know. Joey Abs and I kind of do share a rotund shape. So.
No. Joey Abs was the guy who was actually the worker. I think.
Pete Gass is who I'm.
Yes. I was going to say both of us would be more like Pete Gass.
One of the best names in wrestling, Pete Gass.
Who's the other one? There was a dude who had the frosted tips or whatever.
I don't know.
You could have been Pete Gass, and I could have been that guy.
So I just call him Shecky.
So. That works for me. I'd be Shecky if I could be on national.
I'm
TV.
trying to remember where because I can't imagine having a recliner in a dorm room. I don't think I got it there.
If anyone would have done it, you would have been like, toss the bed out the door. I just sleep in this.
So you do remember the Elvis couch, right?
Oh God, I love the Elvis couch.
Okay,
that was great.
Because we also I think dispensed of that. I thought.
Yes, but that one went easier. That couch was just begging to die. It was essentially like you remember. It
didn't have legs anymore. Like I literally had
to have legs when it was in our apartment.
Okay.
Yeah, it showed up and it just sat right on the floor. So you're like you're essentially sitting on the floor.
Did I get that recliner? I need to go do some research.
But I loved me the Elvis couch, but that couch was begging to die at the end. Like it was like essentially just put me out of my misery.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Elvis couch was a velvety purple couch,
purple velour. Yes, it was lovely.
It was, and I mean, it was just such a comfortable couch to sit in. Took many a nap in it. Played a lot of video games in it.
Drank a lot of beer sitting.
Drank a lot of beer. Watched.
I did personally because you would sit in the recliner, so I'd like. Claim the Elvis couch.
I had the recliner.
I rolled out of the Elvis couch many times when we were watching like Family Guy and South Park. I'd fall out and I would deliberately sit in that one because it was only like 3 inches off the floor, so it wouldn't be a hard fall.
I had the recliner at our Lilac Lane Palace.
You did,
right?
yeah. Because I remember when we moved it, there was sawdust underneath it. I was like, "What is holding this thing together?" That's why it was so mystifying to me that it took like 8 of us. It seemed like it felt like to get this thing into a dumpster.
Yeah,
because I was like, there's nothing left to the innards. Like it keeps leaving sawdust everywhere. There's nothing left holding this together.
Yep.
Spite. I think the thing was possessed.
I think so too.
Anyways, we should probably talk about something other.
But our topic tonight is not, bedeviled furniture. It was we are kind of we are kind of going old school tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We're bringing it back. 1 time, 2 time, 3 time. We're doing some Week in Geek as well as the main topic, all wrapped up in one show. So buckle up. We're going to be here for about 6 hours.
I just realized I don't have the Week in Geek music on here anymore, so we're just going to have to settle for this is the intro music.
Oh, do you actually play the Week in Geek music? It's been so long. I forget. You play? Oh, you do play it,
on a
don't you?
time, yeah.
You know what? There could be no better substitute than this right here, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, we need to, adjudicate.
Guitar. This little.
I know. I love the funkiness of it. Oh, it's gonna get going here in a little bit. We're gonna get some funk. Oh, here we go. That is some drumming right there, my friend.
That dude's sweating, just pouring off him.
Indeed.
All the session musicians like, I can do that.
We are going to debate. We're going to bloviate. We're going to adjudicate in the Week in Geek. All things geekery.
All right, enough of that. So all things geekery, as long as it's talking about wrestling, because
yeah, this is going to be a wrestling heavy one. I have been very lax in my preparatory responsibilities.
There's a lot of things that happen. We had Night of Champions, which came to us live from Bonesaw Arabia. I'm sorry, Saudi Arabia. I get confused easily.
Bonesaw was the name of Macho Man Randy Savage's character in the very first Spider-Man.
Yeah, it was also
Bonesaw.
It was also, there was a tragic incident with a journalist as well.
Well, fair enough.
But yeah, so not crazy about the location of this pay-per-view, but it happened. So Night of Champions from Riyadh. And we didn't do any picks for this because, of course, we've been off for a couple weeks here. But both of us did get a chance to watch it. We have some ratings, so we'll figure we'll just kind of talk through it and see how things go. So I took like no notes. I started taking notes to the first match, and then I was like, screw it. I just want to enjoy this. So I kind of just did ratings after that.
Yep.
But what we had Michael Cole and
just
Wade
go off
Barrett.
From memory. Just go off from memory. What do you remember from these matches? What is memorable?
They happened.
So working with me, you son of a bitch.
What did I have down for the first note here? Hang on a second.
Tom, you're screwing up my arrangements.
Oh yeah, the friggin' my first note here was for the hype package that started off the show. Are we hyping the matches or Bonesaw Arabia? Oh. Don't answer that question. Word for word.
All right.
So the Bonesaw, that's just not something off the top of my head now. I've had that on mind.
All right.
So our first match of the night was the King of the Ring final, Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes. Holy crap, what a way to start this off. The crowd.
Booyaka.
So hyped for this.
Oh, yeah.
So absolutely hyped, which I appreciated because it allowed these two guys to really start this at a pace that I would call old school.
Yeah.
Like, this was a very old school pace to the match because the crowd was just so hot.
Yeah.
And they really got to take their time. Oh, my gosh. I don't remember exact specific moments off the top of my head. I just remember this match being so solid and back and forth.
Well, so let me throw one out.
I thought this was going to be the match of the night, and and actually by my ratings, it is. But
I love the fact that they were playing up Randy's back. Like, I love how he does a superplex and in a way is doing damage to, an area of his body that, is well documented. He's had, real issues with in the past. And, this was a story of him, fighting through that. And then it was a story of him having opportunity and not following through on that opportunity. He hesitated.
Sort of like Kevin Owens.
Kind of like Kevin Owens. And there's just something about Cody Rhodes where, that good guy aura just seems to befuddle his opponent. But
and boozled him, if you will.
Indeed. And the other part of this story was the relentlessness of Cody Rhodes. Like, there is definitely, I think they are trying to make up for what happened at WrestleMania with the way they laid that match out. They are, he looks like an opportunist now. He is not hesitating. He is, when Randy's back was hurting, he started laying into the back. Yeah. He was doing everything by the book. He wasn't cheating, but he was taking advantage of the injured, body part that
he was coming very close to working heel.
Somewhat. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
which is very interesting.
Yeah. No, I think they're planting some seeds for the eventual Cody heel turn, which he
himself last week, he himself has been quoted as saying, my run as a babyface is probably coming to an end soon. And his whole point is like, you gotta change your character up. You can't be the same thing forever. Mm-hmm. And it's a fair point, and so I wonder, do we see something happen at SummerSlam when he faces off against Cena? Do we see something happen next WrestleMania? Who knows?
I don't think it's SummerSlam. I think there's still money left to be had with the Cody babyface. I feel that what was I watching? Where they were talking about, it was the clip I sent to you with Chris Van Vliet and Sam Roberts, I think.
Yes, yeah.
And they were talking about, passing the torch to Cody Rhodes, and one of them was like, do you really think he already has the torch? Like, people like him, he's over. Even without the title, he's still over. I think there's enough gas left. There's enough money to be drawn with Cody as a babyface. I think that ultimately you can feasibly look at him being a babyface through the end of this year, at the very least, and maybe head into Mania, with that being maybe somewhere between the Rumble and Mania. I mean, are they bold enough that, like, at the end of Cena's run, they turn him babyface and then pull a real shocker and have Cody turn babyface on Cena there after he wins the title back from him in December? I don't know.
I have a thought.
I would love to hear it.
I think you can still pass the torch, but not the way people are thinking of it. When Roberts and Valet are talking about passing the torch, they're thinking about passing the torch to Rhodes as, well, two things. One, the next it guy, which I agree. Rhodes doesn't need to be made that way.
Yeah.
But what better way to establish a new hated heel than to have Cody Rhodes on John Cena's last match do something so vicious to put him down in his last match? Same way. I don't mean to say same way, but similar. That same visage of what Michaels did to Ric Flair. I need to put you down, and Cody does it in a way that solidifies him as now turning into this diabolical heel champion potentially.
Yeah.
I think that's a way to pass the torch, because now Cena goes out on his shield as a hero that people didn't want to see lose in his last match, didn't want to see him go out like that. And they hate Cody because of what he does.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be where they go, and I think that's how you pass the torch.
I don't even know if that's so much of a passing the torch. I think that's just a launching pad, because, I mean, I firmly believe, I think Cody, as much as Jey Uso, as we've heard, in that clip I think you sent me with a wise man talking about how, Jey Uso is leading in merch and ratings and all this stuff, and that's great. As many other stars as they have, Cody still maintains a level of interest without necessarily having to be, I don't know how to say it. Like, he doesn't have a belt. He hasn't necessarily been chasing the belt in a direct way. And if anything, he's kind of just chasing Cena himself.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. I love the idea and that's kind of what I was. Yeah, I think you're right there. So, yeah. But Cody Rhodes ultimately comes out. Cody Rhodes is your king of the ring and will have a shot at, which I thought was interesting. So it's the Universal Championship. Stated here, the queen of the ring gets a shot at either, which I thought was odd.
You mean the Undisputed Championship?
Undisputed, yeah. So the men, it's like, okay, you have a shot at this one championship. The women, I guess, get to choose, which I thought
that's interesting. Yeah.
I thought that, which unless I completely misheard that, which I mean could be. I did think it was actually. Hey, I did take notes here, so let me at least seem like I know what the hell I'm talking about in the first one here. I did like how the Orton DDT was counter to the Cody Cutter. That was pretty good. We had the thing is, even I forgot about the whole exposed turnbuckle thing. I love how they did kind of create a little ambiguity, even though Cody was kind of working like pseudo heel at times, like being that opportunist and kind of going after the injured body part. I do like how Randy still managed to maintain that, he'll stab you in the back. Like, that's just who he is, sort of thing, by going to exposing the turnbuckle. And then, of course, getting it used on himself. I thought that was an interesting way to still plant seeds, but not make it so over the top. Like, but yeah, we're turning Cody Rhodes heel any minute now. That sort of thing.
Well, in a lot of ways, Cody's mirroring Cena now, right? He's taking advantage of an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been kind of the theme with John's run, even as a heel, is he either creates the opportunity by using the belt to knock out his opponent, or, as we saw later in the Punk match, he'll take advantage of someone else interfering. As long as his opponent's out, he's just going to go for the pin.
Yep.
And so it's kind of interesting, to see Cody function that way. I loved at the end, Cody kind of celebrating with the crown, and you see that shot of Randy just kind of standing there looking back at him with this look of disgust.
Yeah.
Abe Vigoda was flowing through his veins at that point. You screwed up my arrangements.
Are you keeping track of how many times you're like working the Abe Vigoda?
It's been a couple weeks. People need to hear it, get it out of their system,
You're taking advantage of the fact you got your barrel strength whiskey over there.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, while we're here, this week in Geek was brought to you by Middle West Spirits Straight Rye Whiskey, cask strength, 125.3 proof. It is chef's kiss, amazing. Pumpernickel rye, by the way, pumpernickel.
Now, are you getting like a lot of the pumpernickel in there?
I'm getting a little hints of it. Yeah,
I don't like pumpernickel. I just don't. I've tried a couple times. Not my jam.
Clears out your nose.
I bet it does. So Cody Rhodes goes over. I gave this one 4.5 stars, sir.
Yeah, I'm with you. That was a
damn near perfect.
I mean, good luck to the rest of the card trying to match that one. Holy crap!
Yeah, and the unenviable second spot goes to the Riyadh Boulevard street fight between Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez.
I love how we can't just call it a street fight. We have to find a street in the area that
and the most unimaginatively named one as well. It's named after the city that we're in.
It's not Riyadh Avenue. It's not Riyadh Court. It's Boulevard. Riyadh Boulevard.
Yes. That was kind of lame. But I got to say, like, this is the match that normally would be okay. The crowd is just not into this. No. As soon as Mommy came out, the crowd woke right up, and they were there for this, and managed to not die a death here, which is difficult to do after you have a 4.5 star match to lead things off, to not have a lull. Good God. I got to say, this is probably the best match I've seen Raquel Rodriguez in. And I think it was because going against someone more as physically imposing as Rhea Ripley, someone who could sell as well, someone who has way more charisma than Raquel does. Because Raquel, she can wrestle, like she's got talent for sure. She just does not have that innate natural charisma that Rhea Ripley seems. And I know I'm saying like natural. I'm sure it's a hell of a lot of work to make that look natural.
Yeah.
But she's not at that level.
Yeah.
So having somebody like her to work with was a huge asset. And I did not know their history before this, that they'd had a last woman standing match and all that. And
yeah, I didn't know that either. Yeah, that was interesting.
This is a solid match.
Yeah.
And the punishment with the kendo sticks, putting Ripley again. This is one of the challenges you have with having someone like Rhea Ripley, finding a legit way to put them in peril.
Yeah.
And having her tied up in the ropes was a good way to do it. And then again, oh my gosh, Ripley's instincts, and granted, hey, maybe someone told her to do this, but I like to think that this is just because of what I've seen out of her, that this is kind of her playing into the character, like her looking over at the ref and kind of that panicked look of like, oh crap.
Yeah. I'm
caught, it adds to that. And it's one of those things that not everybody does, because it's of course she kind of yelled a little bit, but it's a quiet thing of like, oh boy, and conveying that in a way that makes you actually kind of believe it in the moment. Really good. Oh my gosh. And I, after finishing this match, I was like, okay. So, and I think I texted you, I'm like, what do you do when you start off a show with 2 4-star plus matches? I gave this 4 stars. I mean, it definitely didn't hit the highs of the first match. 4 stars is ridiculously solid for a second match of the night, which is usually kind of like that, black hole spot. Oh my gosh, these two put on a hell of a show.
They did. And to your point, Raquel Rodriguez looked as good as I've ever seen her. I'm not a big fan of her work. I just don't know. Just she's never really been a strong worker in my book. Liv Morgan has, kind of carried that act a bit. But no, she really shined in this match. And I don't know if it's more of a testament to Rhea or if it's just the two of them just have good chemistry. And so they have a great match, when they're together. I thought the physicality was great. I think I watched this a day after you did. I think I texted you. Is every woman dressed as Catwoman from Batman, Returns, basically? Because I understand they're in Saudi Arabia. I understand the women, unfortunately, have to be, restricted a little bit further, costume wise. But yeah, it seemed like they all were kind of wearing the same black leather outfit, sort of thing, which was kind of funny.
Well, there's only so many options.
Yeah, I figured. Although we'll get to Jade Cargill. I love the Marvel nod there. I thought that was great.
Yeah, I mean, they're already ripping it off so much. I mean, you might as well.
Well, this was the most egregious though that I've seen. Totally. Like this was really
be getting cease and desist at this point. Yes.
Oh God.
I will say I felt like I the one thing I noticed when they, just in reference to the gimmick ring gear, I saw Rhea come down in her outfit, and I'm like, dude, that does not look breathable at all. This is gonna suck.
Yeah,
for her. Yep. Like you were gonna sweat, and then they were talking about just how hot and humid it was in the arena. I'm like, oh, that's terrible. Oh, there's gonna be a regret going on right there, I imagine.
Yep. But overall, like I thought the action was great between the two of them. I loved how they used the table. I've always wondered, like when I saw them go up there, I'm like, how have the men not done this before? And maybe they have, and I just forgot. But it was great to see them use the table that way, balancing it on the corner. Mm-hmm. I know that's probably a little bit dangerous, but I mean the way they had it across, provided some stability. But it does kind of present like a new platform now of, okay, now I can kind of launch into a move off of this in a more kind of safe way than if they were just on the turnbuckle. So I loved how she did the riptide to put, from the top to put Raquel away. Just solid match. I gave this 4.25 stars. I had to go above and beyond Uncle Todd on this one because I was really impressed by it. I mean, it just had really good action to it. It was, really beat my expectations of what I thought this match was going to be. It was good. It was a good brawl between the two of them. And like you said, I mean, Ripley knows how to play face in peril, even though she is usually the, kind of dominant, more physically imposing, person in a match. This is great to see her, kind of square off against someone who is in a lot of ways her physical equal. And so, this is great. Good stuff.
I think part of the reason we haven't seen the table used like that is because I don't know there's a lot of the fellas that can pull that off in terms of necessarily the balance, but also stature. Like if you think about it, Rhea Ripley is like my height. Mm. We look at her as like physically imposing because she is, and oh my gosh, has so much more muscle than I do. I don't even want to talk about that. And in way better shape and way younger and superior to me in all ways. Anyways,
geez, anything else you want to throw? Any other bouquets you want to throw at her, for crying out loud? Jesus,
she's got great hair too. I mean, the whole package. But she's like my height. Mm-hmm. So I mean, you think about a lot of the guys who are on the main roster. I mean, they're bigger dudes. Like even though WWE has changed a lot from back in the day where it's like you got to be this gigantor person, there's not a lot of opponent combinations that could do that and not bust the table or be at risk of busting the table. Just from a standpoint of like how much weight that those tables are going to hold. Because if you notice, the tables aren't gimmicked per se, but they do remove a lot of like the underneath structure so that they will break. So it's not like they can hold 800 pounds up there or anything. So I think that's part of the reason we haven't seen that. But oh my gosh, I saw them doing that and I was like, this could be cool. Please, dear God, let no one fall on their head.
Yeah.
Like, let that thing crack. Like let's just get home safe, shall we?
Yeah.
But yeah, hell of a second match. Oh my gosh. And then that takes us to the one match on the card that doesn't have like a overriding stipulation championship or anything on the line. Karrion Kross versus Sami Zayn. Interesting matches. Again, we continue to kind of see Karrion Kross pushed ish, I guess. Like he keeps on having these little mini feuds with people that then just disappear. Like I'm hoping there's some sort of like payoff to this, but I feel like he's always kind of like the agitator, but it doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Like he just basically like he agitates someone, he gets his ass kicked, and then he moves on to someone else. I'm like, is there some sort of plan here, or are we like, is it like a jobber plus?
So interesting. I don't know if you got dialed into this at all last week, but there were rumblings or rumors going on in the interwebs about. And I don't know where this came from. Like, it just seems like such a garbage rumor, but it somehow was just kind of like propagating that one of the reasons why he hasn't been pushed very much is because, again, you're going to love this, because he doesn't like to take bumps, which I don't quite understand, because when he's been in a match, right, he's been in matches before, he's taken bumps like most other people have. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'm not paying strict attention to the way he's taking bumps, like he's not falling on his back or however that, they're supposed to take it. But yeah, there was this whole thing about how, one of the reasons he hasn't been pushed is because he apparently doesn't want to take bumps, which I'm like, why is he in wrestling then? I mean, that's the entire point of what you do, is to simulate a fight and take bumps as part of that I don't mean to say simulation, but as part of the action that you present to your audience.
Well, but okay, go ahead.
And so it was just a weird set of things that were kind of out there on the interwebs. Well, we get to this match, and I mean, he took plenty of bumps. He took a bump out on the outside of the ring, for crying out loud. He landed on his back. So I don't know where this came from. I really liked the match. I loved, I thought, it's his wife, Scarlett, posted something on social media, I think the next day, thanking, the Saudi Arabian crowd for recognizing or creating this moment, for Kross, because he's worked so, she's just like, I've seen him work so hard across all these different years. It was great to see him, have a moment like that. where they were like so into him. And it really helped kind of present him in a different light than I think we would have seen in the States, where he may not, garner that sort of reaction. But he had a really good match with Sammy. He had a great match with Sammy. He was, continuing to do his like devil shtick that he's been doing. And, there were a couple times when you thought he was going to, seal the deal and close it out, and not quite. Now, we know moving into Raw on Monday, there's I think more to come with this feud. Like his loss isn't the end here. And so, yeah, I'm kind of curious at some point they need to get him to win, though. And in this era of the Triple H WWE, I have confidence they're going to give him those victories to help, if they're truly trying to build him up now, I think they can do that. But if he continues to just lose, his character is just going to like lose any sort of luster or any sort of interest, like the whole Saudi thing would end up just being more of a, he's just kind of a, not a freak show, but just kind of like a superstar that they look up to and like to cheer. It's like only out there would he get a reaction like that. They've got to. I really do think he's a character they should invest in and try to turn into more of a monster. But you got to give him wins. You got to set him up and I feel like they're setting him up in good in potentially good stories. It's just they got to give him the wins to make him seem like a threat to greater and greater opponents, and it just hasn't really materialized yet.
Yeah, that whole rumor seems is stupid just on the fact that like it's not like he's Hogan. Right. He's not the Undertaker. He's not someone whose like spot is so secure that he can be like, nah, I'm not going to do that.
What about all his time in NXT? He was NXT champion for a period of time. He took bumps then. Like it's stupid.
Well,
it's
I think
clickbait.
What I look at that is like they're talking about like, oh well, he doesn't want to take big bumps. Like he doesn't want to do something over the top or this and that and the other, which is like, okay, fine. Like a lot of those top guys can kind of dictate. Like I ain't doing that. No.
Yeah.
He's not. I'm betting he does not have a guaranteed contract. He's been on the bubble of guys who have been. I mean, he was dropped at one point. It's like if he was that much of a pain in the ass, they would have just gotten rid of him. They've cut people in the past year or two. Like they would have gotten rid of him if he was that much of a pain. So that's just silly. Like it's not like, oh my gosh, well he's got a 10-year guarantee contract. Like no, he doesn't. If this was the NBA, he's playing for the league minimum right now. There's no harm in cutting him. So that's again, clickbait generator.
Oh yeah.
So I gave this one 3 3/4 stars. It was really good. It was a come down from the previous fight, which the previous match was bound to happen eventually. Like you're not going to have.
Really? You thought it was a come down?
I did. I felt like it was a bit of a come down from the previous match. It was good. It was really good. I give it 3.75 stars, dude. Like that's still way above average and right at the edge of like what I consider like goes beyond really good to really, really good, but hey, to each their own.
I had to outdo you and go up 1/4 star to 4.0 because honestly that I was not expecting the match to be that engaging and that good. And I thought this was a really solid outing for Cross. For Sammy, I think it was not a standard. I don't mean to say a standard Sammy match, but you got your Sammy spots with the exploder, with the Blue Thunder Bomb, and then finally I like the. I thought the ending was a little. It felt a little off with him kind of running to the corner and that sort of thing. Like that did feel a little bit off, but then I thought it was very ingenious the way they did it, where he's running to the corner and Sammy's right behind him and then he just plows him with the kick. I mean, I thought that was a really great way to end it.
Yeah.
But again, would love to see him, get a win over someone, with his repertoire. And so I'm hoping that they're going to do something with Sammy where, this goes to some place where he does start to get wins and he does start to seem like a threat and that sort of thing. So we'll have to see.
Yeah. Or at least some sort of connecting tissue between. So I mean, what he had that thing with AJ Styles.
Mm-hmm.
That's amounted to nothing. And
which, by the way, one of the best segments of Raw on Monday.
Oh
was,
my gosh, yes.
We'll get to that. But
yes, I forgot to note that
AJ
down.
Styles with glasses, comedy gold.
Yes, I love that.
And frickin' Dirty Dom with his doctor's note. My God, the diabolical geniuses know how to make him even a dirtier heel.
Mm-hmm. It's good. It's good stuff. All right, but talking about Night of Champions, we then move on to the Men's United States Championship match of Jacob Fatu defending against Solo Sikoa. We got more Samoans returning and debuting, and my God, is there any end to the bloodline and its divisions? Apparently not.
The Samoan dynasty runs deep.
Yeah, I mean, this is a good match. Solo finally seems to be developing again, continuing to develop that personality.
Oh yeah.
They've had to dial the volume way down on Jacob Fatu. He's no longer that guy who just no-sells everything, because eventually, like, what are you going to do with that guy? Like, he's got to get beaten somehow.
Well, you've got to have him, if he's going to be a viable babyface, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's got to be in perilous situations. Like, you can't, like, if he's just constantly, otherwise he's Goldberg.
Yeah.
And Goldberg just runs through people within 3 minutes and that's it. So... Yeah. Those are your options. You either have him run over people, or you actually have him be someone who you think is not, is fighting for something.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember a ton about the individual bits in this match. I just remember JC Mateo waddling, stumbling down the ramp.
I'm going to start calling him Rhino Jr.
Oh my gosh!
Does he not remind you of Rhino?
But shorter and less graceful. Yes. Yeah. And we're not talking early career Rhino. We're talking about late career Rhino.
Oh, yeah.
Bloated Rhino. And trust me, I'm not throwing a ton of shade, because I'm feeling pretty bloated right now. I've made some bad nutrition decisions in the last 3 weeks. Eating feelings. But yeah, so we have Mateo come down, and then we have Tongaloa came back.
Tongaloa, you are correct, sir.
And then we had the mystery Samoan come out of the crowd, or out from under the ring or whatever, and poor Michael Cole, in his haste to try and say, he was like Tama Tonga Dlola da Tama Hoga, like he couldn't, he just threw every Samoan name he could into like a
Haku Tonga,
great vowel
Rikishi
of just like. It's like he became a Tourette's
Jimmy
syndrome.
and Jay.
Oh my gosh, he didn't know what to call this guy, and I don't even know what to call him.
Do you know what I think his name? So
he's like 7 feet tall.
He's very tall,
and he wasn't Prince Haikaloa, whatever.
I think. I mean, the way in my head I say it is Hikulo.
Yeah,
Hikulo, I think, or something.
And what are
like
they calling him here?
You ready for this?
Oh boy,
you're gonna love this. Uncle Todd is going to love. I can't wait to see the look on your face.
Don't
Sip
tell me.
your drink as I say it.
They're gonna say Bob. That would
Bob.
be great.
You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Come on, drink your drink.
No, I'm not.
Tala Tonga. And he delivers. That was the look I was hoping for.
He's taller than Solo.
He's taller than all of you. He's Tala Tonga.
I hate this timeline.
Oh my gosh, you reacted in exactly the fashion I had hoped. So thank you, sir.
So anyways, he comes down, and the long and the short of this, folks, is that Jacob Fatu gets screwed out of the title.
He was all brakes and no gas at that point.
Solo Sikoa gets his first singles title, which was kind of telegraphed when they're like, Solo Sikoa has never had a singles title in WWE. I'm like, well, it sounds like he's going to win it tonight. And he did by hook and crook. So, so this one I gave 3.5 stars. I felt like it was a pretty good match until we started getting to all the extracurriculars towards the end. It felt like, okay, I get it. You want to bring Tongaloa back and have him make an impact. Fine. You want to bring back, Redwood Toa or whatever. You want to introduce that guy. Treetop Tonga. We're going to introduce Treetop Tonga.
Oh my gosh, you got to submit that to Triple H. Forget Tala, Treetop.
We want to have Treetop Tonga debut. Fine. We did not need JC Mateo come like running down the ramp and have this worried look on his face, like he didn't know if he was going to be able to stop his momentum before he got into the ring.
He did not want to Titus O'Neil into the ring.
He's just like, you look like, oh my gosh, it was sad, sad watching him try to scurry to the ring. It was like an overweight platypus that just didn't know what was going on. Yeah, it was one Samoan too much, and JC Mateo was it.
A Samoan too far?
Samoan too far. The thing I want to know is like, where are they heading with this? Like, we're now building up the Samoan. We're now building up the Bloodline B team again. Like, what are we doing with this faction? Like, because it like there's no useful purpose for most of these factions right now.
Yeah.
Like the Judgment Day again. Like, oh well, we added a new member on Raw. Well, who gives a flying fart? Because who are you actually going up against? Like, no one. What have you been doing? Nothing. Except getting members fired and injured. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with this, but the match itself, I didn't think was too bad. I thought it was actually pretty good until we got to a little bit of the too many extracurriculars. What did you think, sir?
I thought it was okay. I mean, this was definitely a match I was a little more nonplussed about. I can't quite put my finger on it. I mean, I liked Fatu and his offense. I mean, I love Sikoa and, the smack talk. I mean, this there are elements or times in the match where, he had him in a chokehold or a hold of some kind, and he's just like spouting off about it. He's like, I love you. You didn't love me. You never loved me. I mean, it was great to hear him kind of going on and stuff like that. And that's where I think, that's what's so funny when you think about his character from way early on in NXT. And when he first came in, he was just that silent killer. Mm-hmm. And now he's showing this very rich personality of himself, and he's funny. I mean, he's so.
But he did the Penta
funny.
walk. I almost fell off the couch.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
or when he did LA Knight, he did the.
Yeah.
He's boom, boom, boom.
Because he kind of did this. He's like,
oh yeah, and he's like, whatever. No, it's phenomenal. But I don't know. There was something about it that just felt a little clunky to me, and there was the flow of it that, like, I remember there was one point where Jacob Fatu was like, he had Solo down and he goes to the corner, and I thought he was going to launch into the springboard moonsault that he does, where he goes to the middle rope, then top rope, then launches, and he did something. It just felt like out of character for him. Like, I mean, every time when we saw him in killer mode, to your point, when he was in killer mode, that's where he would go. He would just get the guy down and he would go boing, 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 and boom, hit him with it. And that was it.
Yeah.
And so, it just felt kind of out of place. And then I didn't mind so much the schmoz with all of them coming in, because I think they're working to a place. So again, I don't know if they're going to another place where we're going to have Bloodline 3.0 here, where it's going to be like Roman comes back and it's going to be Roman, Jimmy J, and Jacob. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
Solo and Treetop Tongue.
I know this is going to be shocking to everybody, but ladies and gentlemen, we do have another Samoan that we can bring in here. There's Zilla Fatu.
Ah, that's right, Zilla. You can't forget about Zilla,
who apparently posted on the interwebs. Call me to Jacob.
Yep.
And he apparently is under a contract of some kind with WWE.
Yeah.
So
Hikulo has been with WWE under contract since last summer. Like they locked him in last summer, but I don't know if he's just been working in developmental or what's been going on. But yeah, he's been out for a while.
Well, Zilla, I mean, I think because he's been signed for a while, because I thought he was going to show up at the show that the Limitless Wrestling show that I went to months ago. And I think he was booked for that show, and then he didn't show, or he had some other commitment, or was injured, or whatever. But yeah, they've got. I mean, my God, they've got all the Samoans under contract. It's, I I don't know how. That's how I don't have a spot in WWE. Apparently, if only I could find a Samoan in my family tree, I would have a contract right now.
You might be able to talk to the wise man.
Well, maybe Shmooly,
or maybe he'll call you Shmooly. But I gave this one
Shmooly,
3 1/4.
Can you get me off for old time's sake?
You messed up my arrangements. I'm going to give this 3 1/4 stars. Definitely above average, but I don't know, something about it didn't quite pop for me. I was hoping for a little bit more from it with him and Solo, and yeah, so I'm that's what I'm going with.
Wow, I was more generous than you for a change.
You were.
Which then brings us to the Queen of the Ring final. We have the returning Asuka versus
Halle Berry.
A storm. Jade Cargill. Good God, how have they not been sued between just the white hair, it's so on the nose that like this is Storm.
It is. Did you ever watch that 70s show?
Yeah.
There was an episode where Donna was working for a radio station, and they did this thing where, you know, she and the character Eric, of course, are a couple, and he's getting jealous because she's working a lot at the radio station, and she's working for this really popular DJ. And I think the name of the station was The Storm. And he'd be like, you know, blah, 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 this is the Storm. And then, you know, they do the lightning or thunder or whatever. And then it turned out to be the guy. He was one of the guys that played, I can't think of his character's name, but in Revenge of the Nerds. I'm trying to think. He was popular in, oh gosh, I can't think of his name. He was a guy who was like unshaven beard in that movie, I think, and was kind of
Booger.
Yes, Booger.
Oh my gosh, him.
So it turned out to be like the super nerdy guy, you know. But when you said the Storm like that, it just made me think of that. It's like, this is the Storm. So he sounds like Studley and like this really, you know, big DJ, and then he turns out to be this like little geeky guy, and he's like, "Would you like to come join our Dungeons and Dragons game?" You know, it's like good old that 70s show.
Yeah, that's where our listenership went down, is when they could see us and they're like, ugh. Oh well.
Boy.
This match, this was kind of the low point of the show for me.
Was it?
I do like Asuka's new kind of entrance package. I do like the video and all that. I kind of dig that.
Yeah.
Something was kind of just didn't like, these two did not have great chemistry. Like there were moments.
Yeah.
But overall, and then the end, oh my gosh, that pin seems so wonky.
She lost her balance. It was very clear she lost her balance.
Yeah.
She went to go pull the leg to do the lean back that she normally does, and she does this whole thing with her hand or whatever, and you could just tell she just like slipped and went down.
Yeah.
And then her shoulders are down, and Asuka's are up. And it's like, okay, who won? You know, and Cole did a great job of just like, Jade won. You know, it's just like, oh, good God, thank you, Cole, for
let me spackle this sucker over.
Basically, yeah. We were front and center for Michael Cole drywall experts. So.
Yes.
But there was, to your point, the action was, it wasn't a bad match. It was definitely above average, but there was clunkiness to it, and. You know, Cargill, she's coming along, but I'm a little like, I don't quite get it. Cause like in AEW, and I don't know, maybe this is one of these cases where maybe AEW hid her weaknesses really well. But like when she would wrestle for them, she had these really, really good matches. You know, it wasn't like, they weren't like 5-star matches, but I mean, I never remember them being clunky, you know, like it seemed like she had good chemistry and had smooth matches with her opponents. Now, she also won all of those matches, and she dominated in those matches. Maybe that was the difference, but I don't know.
I think so. I think it's a difference of these are the type of opponents she's going to have to work against, and she's not going to win everything. She's not going to be the big killer of the division. Not yet. I mean, and that makes sense. But yeah, it appears that she does struggle when she's dealing with people who are not. It's not a Haas match sort of thing,
right? Yep.
And yeah, that's a big weakness, because that is the majority of the WWE women's roster.
Yep.
You know, and I think she's getting better. She has a fantastic look. She has a presence that you can't teach. But yeah, there are moments you're just going to have to be like, yeah, and she's going to have her highs, she's going to have her lows.
Yep.
And that's just the way it is. I'm not loving the idea of her being queen of the ring, but I mean, hey, she's going to draw money at SummerSlam, and if they get her the right opponent, if it ends up being like Rhea versus Cargill, I'll buy a ticket for that. Because again, Rhea makes people look great. So
well, I was just going to say. So based on the Raquel match, maybe that's who can make her look like $1 million.
Yep. So I mean, I can kind of see where you're going with this, but at the same time, like I don't love the fact that we're not burying Asuka, but
yeah,
it kind of sucks that she has to lose this as on the comeback. But
yeah.
Oh well. I gave it 3.25 stars.
I did the same.
It was above average. It wasn't fantastic, but
nope.
it had its moments. I think Asuka looked great in it. But yeah,
I've always been a huge fan of Asuka. I love her style. I love her character. I love she's very visual, and such a very emotive, and just I really appreciate that about her. Because I know coming in, it's hard at times, especially during the Vince era, he would always kind of put, I hate to say it this way, but he would always seem to put Asian wrestlers in a particular category. And she thrives so much. And like, I could just see right away the differences when Triple H is in charge versus Vince. Cause in NXT, she just thrived. She was so popular and so good. And then it translated very well when she came to the main roster. They managed not to screw that up too much. She had some pretty good runs, with the world title.
Yeah, she's been like 4-time champ, hasn't she?
Oh yeah, she's been just a consistent champ.
Yeah, and totally merited. Like she's money.
Oh yeah, no, the action. I mean, she is so good. I mean, like she, Io Sky, are just just top draws and top performers as well. Like I'm super psyched for the Io Sky Rhea Ripley title match at Evolution.
Oh yeah,
like. I did not watch the first Evolution. I might actually watch this Evolution because I want to see, given what they did at WrestleMania. Now, granted, Bianca Belair is not involved, but still, like the two of them have some chemistry and they can put on a freaking amazing match. So I'm looking forward to that.
The one thing I that's funny, and this just came up this past week, I'd never seen Asuka without the face paint, like in gimmick.
Yeah.
And there was a picture of her, and I'm like, would never recognize her.
Yeah.
Because it really is a case. It's not just the face paint. It's how, she then transforms with that look and is this whole other person. And seeing her without the face paint, I'm like I would recognize Rhea Ripley without her, whole makeup and gimmick and stuff, because it still looks, basically like Rhea Ripley. Asuka, I'm like, oh my gosh, you could totally walk down the street and no one would know who the frack you are.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy, because it does bring out this character, which is, again, is a tribute to her as a performer, on many levels. But yeah. Which then brings us to the WWE Undisputed Championship, the main event, ladies and gentlemen. John Cena, the greatest of all time,
versus
I was
Charles Montgomery Punk.
I was going to go through, the greatest of all time. The never seen 17-time, all blah blah blah. Master.
I love how he has the whole shtick now, where he like does the bow, and it's wonderful.
Gracing Riyadh for the final time, and it's literally Apollo Creed from Rocky, where Rocky just turns like, you got a lot of names, that's versus Charles Montgomery Punk. Man, this was a barn burner. I did not feel it was quite as good as the opening match. It was damn close. I feel like a bit of the shenanigans at the end kind of detracted. My God. Although, you know what? I'm changing my rating right now.
You can't do that.
I can do any damn thing I want.
Oh,
I only went up a quarter of a star because,
ladies and gentlemen, let the record show once again. Uncle Todd
there's nothing on the line here.
Changing the results.
I went up a quarter star for the bump that Charles Robinson, Little Nate, took, and also because apparently after the event they took a picture of him laying there, like he was still laying there after he left. And then he tweeted out later, like, "I'm alive.
I'm
That's
alive."
it.
That was phenomenal.
Oh my gosh!
Oh,
And because I mean, I don't even know how old that dude is, but he came chugging down that ramp. Eyes were like Riche Caldwell cocaine eyes, like,
oh yeah,
gigantic.
yeah.
Like he was. It's like it's actually a good thing.
You could tell he was bracing for the bump. He's like, okay, I'm about to be railroaded by a man who is built 5 times stronger than me. I am about to go flying.
Let me see. Charles Robinson age. Dude's 61 years old and came charging down there and took a bump
like a champ.
Oh my gosh. Oh, so that's worth a quarter of a star right there. But this is a good match. Again, the crowd was which had kind of gone to sleep a little bit during the Asuka Jade match, and deservedly so. They needed a break because they were there for pretty much everything else. They took a little bit of a nappy poo here during Asuka and Jade, and then they came back for this one because, oh my gosh, they were back to the level of hype they were at the opening. I did appreciate a lot of the kind of the back and forth and the counters that were going on here, and the idea that, you know, they know each other so well from having wrestled back in the day. I really like that. I like just again, like some of the more technical aspects of this, and also the psychology and the fact that you have two guys who, of course, by necessity, the fact that they're not spring chickens, but also because they know enough to take their time. I appreciated that. But yeah, solid match. Of course, we got the shenanigans with, you know, I did really appreciate how Seth and the gang came out with no referee. And then, you know, had the lackeys, you know, soften things up, and then called for the referee very deliberately. I did appreciate that. I was like, okay, this is a different way of doing this. And then, of course, you know, Seth Franklin Rollins, you know, powders out when he realizes that things aren't going in his favor. Again, good move there. Good old cheap heel heat. I do appreciate a little bit the idea of, although in a way it makes sense, in a way it doesn't make sense. I don't know. It made sense to me, but I could see if it would make sense to you. CM Punk extending the hand to Cena after Cena had kind of saved each other, and even though they're fighting off everybody. What
I loved about that is how they did not replicate 100% the Money in the Bank 2012 match, which, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, we have an episode where we break that match down. We watched it. And we talked about it.
Oh, okay. I was thinking of. I'm sorry. I was thinking of Elimination Chamber.
Or I think. Oh, I'm sorry. It might be 2011. I might be wrong there. I think it's Money in the Bank 2011. There are notes, similar notes they hit in this match from that match, and this was one of them, which was Vince was trying. You know, in the 2011 match, Vince was trying to send a referee down to do like a Montreal screw job sort of thing to CM Punk. And in this case, Charles Robinson was running down to try to be a you know, conscious referee who could do a count, and Cena plows him over. But before I get to that, one thing I want to say about the match, it really stood out to me, was how much Punk and Cena kept it in the ring. There was very little outside action. Everything was in the ring. And I was captivated by the match. It did not bother me that they were just in the ring. And it wasn't like it stood out to me like, oh my gosh, why aren't they outside the ring, like brawling with each other? And, you know, in the 2011 match, they had a couple spots where they went outside and they did some, you know, some high risk stuff. But this match was very similar. Started out slow, started out with a lot of rest holds. And I really appreciated the way they just kind of built up the action, very in a lot of ways similar to 2011. It was a slow burn to, more impactful moves, to them trying to put each other away with each other's finishers and then trying to steal each other's finishers in some ways. And it was just note perfect for me, the way they did it.
Yes.
The thing I loved about the interference was it made so much sense storyline wise.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of it, there was, you like you talk about that moment when Robinson gets nailed and Cena goes in the ring and Rollins, has that moment of like, this is not how it's supposed to, like, you start to see like the spoiled brat that Rollins has become. Like, this is not the way this was supposed to work. And you see him, he's just like talking to himself. He's like, he's like looking down at the ground. And finally he's like, screw it, I'm going to just, pop him with the briefcase. And Cena does the attitude adjustment. I got to tip my hat. Seth Rollins, hell of a sell job on that attitude adjustment. He goes down and he comes up like he just got shot in the back. Seriously, like sometimes these guys take the move and they're just laying there for the pin. Not Rollins. Rollins is like, like actually it was borderline like Shawn Michaels when he was pretending to be Hulk Hogan, It's like, oh, my back. So I just so appreciate that. And it just added so much because it was in a lot of ways, it's like I had that satisfaction of, oh, good. Seth is trying to stick his nose in here. The story here is great. Money in the Bank, like a month ago, Punk is nowhere to be found. Rollins wins clean, no Punk interference at all. I'm waiting for them to have their next kind of promo battle because Punk has such a great story here about, him, Rollins sticking his nose in his business. Rollins has said, as long as, he's got breath, he's not going to allow Punk to win the world title. He stated that, and he business, he lived up to it. But I also love the fact that, Punk as a babyface can also say, I could have run in and stopped you from getting Money in the Bank. I let that play out. I let you, like almost like I let you get that. You have that because I chose not to show up. I made a choice. You, however, decided to show up in my business. Now moving forward, you've got a bullseye on your back. You go to cash that in, I'm going to be there.
Which also because, CM Punk didn't do that, we got CM Punkonomics. So, the gift that just keeps on giving.
Oh my God, that was incredible. That was incredible.
So good.
It was so good to hear that theme song again too. I forgot how much I actually enjoyed that song.
Well, and the fact that just the discomfort of watching CM Punk say "yo" and watching the punk rock kid
I
rapping,
texted Uncle Todd and said,
"What is happening right now?"
I texted Uncle Todd and said, "I laugh every single freaking time I hear him say yo," because it is just nothing like a 46, 47-year-old man just like, yo.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Only one that can pull that off is Scott Hall. I'm, rest in peace.
Well, but it was, So I'm glad we didn't get that. But no, it was a really good match.
It was. And so, I look at Money in the Bank 2011 as a perfect 5-star match between the two of them. That was, to me, if I ever were to show someone why I love professional wrestling, I have to show them that match because that is, to me, the high bar. I know there's, Flair Steamboat. I know there's Bret Hart, Steve Austin. I know there's so many other matches, but
Savage Steamboat.
Steamboat's in there a lot.
For good reason.
But Punk Cena had such a vibe to it, and seriously, like their chemistry and the way they play off each other. And the thing I love about that 2011 match and enjoyed about this match was how much it was a wrestling match.
Yeah.
Like these guys don't just like punch each other. It's like they're doing holds. They're trying to submit each other. They're trying, they're trying to wrestle.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I guess them keeping it in the ring just stood out to me so much. And I really appreciated that because it was just like these, as much as John Cena is a heel, he goes to the heelish decision. He brings the briefcase in, and it was interesting. He heard the crowd and he kind of put it down and didn't do it. That was kind of interesting.
Mhm.
But it was only at the point where he felt he couldn't put him away anymore. And it's like, this is the only thing I need to go do this to put him away.
Mhm.
Now, Punk extending his hand, I like how they work that in, because I think, again, and Triple H actually said this in the post show. He's like, these are two guys that when you talk about CM Punk, you cannot not talk about John Cena. And same with Cena. Like the two of them are just inextricably, connected to each other in terms of their careers and what they did for one another. And I like how they kind of brought that respect piece in, if even for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, they go shake and hug, and then you see Cena do the soulless face, know what's coming after that. Punk blocks it. He goes for his finisher, and that's when Seth lays him out, and Cena gets the win. But that made so much sense in the context of the Punk Rollins story. Like, I love how they use this match, and like as a fan, like I would love to see Punk have the belt one more time. I think it'd be kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not upset that, like, the right guy went over in this match. Like, Cena needed to continue with the belt.
Mm-hmm.
And it made sense for him to continue with it. And I love the fact that, and maybe we're headed at SummerSlam for a Punk Rollins match. I don't know. But
it seems a little soon.
It does, because the selling point of the match, and I really feel like this is going to be the big selling point, is, and Punk has said this before, Rollins has never pinned him on his own. And knowing the way Punk likes to work, those real moments into the story, I really think that's going to be kind of where they go, if they do it at SummerSlam or whenever they do it.
Yeah.
But I just really appreciated the match. It was a lot of fun to watch. I was very captivated by it, and it was one last time between the two of them, and they did not disappoint. I gave this 4 3/4 because it was damn near perfect, but not quite what the 2011 match was.
I bumped this one up. I originally had this at 4 1/4 stars. I bumped it up to 4.5 stars for the Charles Robinson Little Nate bump. So yeah, bookend 4.5 star matches to begin and end the show, and nothing below 3 1/4 stars for me throughout the show. Damn, that's a solid PLE. Gotta love it.
I would agree. Yeah, I mean that's a really strong one.
Yeah,
of
and one that I was not expecting, because this is kind of like, it was like, oh, Night of Champions, like whatever.
If I would have told you were nuts if I, like, on paper, see Karrion Kross against Sami Zayn and give it 4 stars. I'm like, are you serious? Karrion Kross? But my God, that, like, all the matches, there was just something there. There was a magic, kind of going throughout the card, where there were just really strong performances across the board. So yeah, hats off to WWE.
Hang on a second.
Oh, there we go.
Since I'm actually wearing a hat this episode, I might as well, take the hat off. You know what? I was gonna try and wait until we got out of the Week in Geek, Week in Wrestling, but I'm gonna have to call a 30-second timeout and rejoin us in just a moment.
Indeed.
A few moments later,
and we're back, and I believe the man they call Tim has some more thoughts to share with you.
Yeah. So, coming out of Night of Champions and thinking about, kind of the direction that, Rollins is going in, and, where the Punk and Rollins feud is going, I wanted to float an idea to you, sir.
All right, float away.
And get your thoughts.
I'm always good for you floating ideas my way.
I have a feeling that 5 years from now, we are going to find out that CM Punk and Seth Rollins have basically pulled a Jerry Lawler / Andy Kaufman on us, where we are led to believe, both in the show and outside of the show, that they are the most hated of enemies, the two of them. And yet what we will end up finding out is that they end up being actually pretty good friends who embarked on a storytelling journey that blended realism into the fiction. And I say that because of a couple things. One,
Hmm.
And I was trying to find it before we started recording, and I could not. But there was a interview that I saw. I don't know if it was Ariel Hawani or if it was with Chris Van Vliet.
Is it Van Vliet or Van Fleet?
I don't know. I say Vliet because it's Vilet.
Okay, so then it's Van Fleet. Because
if it's Filet, Filet, then if a V is there, I think it's Valet.
But the problem is you're thinking fillet because you're thinking about it.
Hey, you know, it always comes back to the meats, baby. Always comes back to the meats. Here's my thought.
By the way, did you hear that like Arby's bought like what was it they bought? Hang on a second. What did Arby's just buy? Because you just said the meats. Arby's buys Buffalo Wild Wings. Did you hear about this?
I did not. When did this happen?
Arby's acquired in 2018, which breaking news. Arby's restaurant acquired a deal to
pre-COVID, dude.
They bought Buffalo Wild Wings for $2.9 billion. Like, where'd Arby's get $2.9 billion from?
They have the meats.
There used to be an Arby's in Portland, Maine, and it's been gone now for several years.
Wow.
Like, where is this money coming from? Like, there's no, I don't know where there's any Arby's even close to where I'm at. Yeah. And yet they're still making enough money where they're like, yeah, let's buy Buffalo Wild Wings.
Sure, why not? Why not?
Who's giving them a loan? Anyways, sorry. You were saying about Punk and Rollins.
Here is Exhibit A. While being interviewed, Punk talks about how, he understands that there is something, there between him and Seth. He has no ill will towards Seth, or has hatred toward him. In terms of this interview, as Phil Brooks, that he understands why Rollins, in some ways is has the perspective he has, but otherwise, he holds no ill will against him.
Mm-hmm.
And then goes on to say he's like, he says something to the effect of, and I may not be wording this precisely, but it's to the effect of, if he just would get out of this mode he's in of wearing these goofy clothes and being this goofy person, he said Seth Rollins is a killer, and he should be presented as a killer. And I really wish that he would move away from this over-the-top goofy character that he is and be the killer, because I think that's when he's going to, really shine.
And what do we see Saturday night and Monday night?
Well, that's where I was going. How do we see Seth Rollins being presented right now? He's a killer. He is a very focused individual who is surrounding himself with, a faction of individuals that are going to defend his interests, and he's going to run roughshod over WWE.
You don't even need to present any more exhibits. I'm in. I am in, sir.
Yeah, can I have one more exhibit though?
Fine, if you've already prepared.
WrestleMania 41.
Mm-hmm.
Punk walks in. He has one of the most epic entrances. And not just the entrance, but even the hype. Yes, thank you. The hype package leading into the entrance.
I watched that. I just watched that again the other day. I was like, I got goosebumps on my goosebumps watching it for like the second or third time.
Punk gets his moment as, entering his first main event. What value is there if Punk wins that match? Where's the story afterwards? There isn't one. He's done his main event. He's conquered his enemies. There's nothing really to tell after that. There's no good story. Where's the story? It's the same thing with Heyman, right? We talked about you had brought this up. The only way this goes in an interesting story direction is if Heyman goes with Rollins, right? And what do we see play out? Heyman allies himself with Rollins. Rollins doesn't beat Punk. He beats Roman Reigns. So he wins the match, but he doesn't actually pin CM Punk, because that's important. You got to keep that out of the equation for later on. Why I think they are actually probably friends working and working together. As much as they, like, if they really truly hated each other, there's just certain things that I don't think we would see happen. And the fact that we see this story being told, the way that it's being told,
Mm.
tells me that I think these guys are working together a lot more than we think they are.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're letting on. Seth is doing a great job in his interviews and the press that he does, consistently, dressing down Punk, consistently talking down about him, consistently putting forth a story that I hate this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, and they even had, like, at a fan fest, I think last week, they had a bit of a brawl, like not a brawl, but they were kind of a shoving match and that sort of thing. Because I think in the end here, I think what Punk is trying to do before he retires is I think he wants to set up Seth as the killer.
Mm.
And I think when we see this story play out, Punk got his big victory over Drew McIntyre. I think the Rollins Punk feud is meant to elevate Seth and set him up, long term as this killer.
Mm.
And I think, Punk, and the way we've seen him work in terms of stories and the stories he likes to tell, I think is going to take us on this journey with that. And so I just found that interesting. I wanted to float that out there to you, sir, because it feels like for them to be these constant enemies, hating each other in real life or not. Yeah, certainly they can be professional and they can work together, but there's so much depth to their story. And there's so much depth to what's going on that I got to imagine it's some combination of Punk, Rollins, and Heyman all kind of coordinating on a really strong story where Punk wants Rollins to be the future.
Mm.
Punk seems resigned to know where his role is. He knows he's on, like, this is his, kind of victory lap he's doing right now before he retires and probably moves into more of a coaching role in NXT, or maybe he works behind the scenes, for these events and stuff like that. But he wants to, teach, and he wants to, lead the next generation. And it's very much in his character and the way he views the business to be like, I need to give back.
Mm-hmm.
And what better way than to give back someone that felt slighted when he left, that felt abandoned when he left? For all we know, they could have mended fences when he first came back. Just the way he's kind of approaching life and approaching, his time in WWE, where he's very apologetic, where he's very humble about, the way he was before versus now.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he can, be very cordial with Triple H and with Stephanie when there was clearly animosity in the past. I really believe that I think he's trying to do what's best for business and set WWE, really make Seth that the man that Seth has somehow not been recognized. That Roman Reigns was the man. Cody Rhodes is the man.
Mm-hmm.
I think Punk is trying to set up Rollins as the man.
Like I said, you didn't even need to go to Exhibit B. I was already in. The one point I will disagree with you, sir. If this is indeed a work, and Punk and Rollins are not, bitter rivals for shootsies, ain't no way we're finding out about this in 5 years. They'll take the secret to their graves. It'll be a case of like Andy Kaufman and Jerry Lawler, where one of them has to like go to the sweet by and by before the other one's willing to be like, yeah, it's kind of a thing. That because that is the guy that CM Punk is.
Oh, fair enough.
And I think it's in a way like I think there's a bit of that in Seth Rollins too. So that's the only point of contention I'd have is we might never find out unless all of a sudden you see him yucking it up in a bar and in Wrigleyville and before a Cubs game or something. Who knows? No, I think it's totally plausible because yeah, you're right. Yeah. Like you, even if there's money to be made, you make that money and then you just make this go away. They've been at this far too long to have some type of working relationship. And the fact that you look at this and you're like, this does not have to be done for SummerSlam. This does not have to be done for Survivor Series, which we talked about, this being like Team Punk versus Team Rollins at Survivor Series. This could very easily go until Mania next year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could foresee that. this has the gas to it because there's enough. They're setting this up in a way where there's enough variables involved that you can keep people dancing in and out and away from each other to keep the blow off far enough in the distance that there's always some other thing that needs to get taken care of, but these two are still trying to fight to get to each other, but then there's always something that comes up.
Yeah.
You know, I could see that happening until next WrestleMania.
Yeah. I could.
I mean, yeah, so you don't work that long with another person if you're just like, yeah, F this guy. Let's just make some money off of a couple of events and let's get the hell out and then move me on to something else.
Yeah.
So that is my only disagreement with you, sir. Otherwise, impeccable reasoning.
Thank you.
I find no faults. 10 out of 10, no notes.
Where do we want to go next? Do we want to do the Raw follow-up or do we want to move on to Mount Bassmore?
I don't know. I feel like there's a couple things here that needs to be said, but let me just ask you a couple questions here.
Shoot.
So did you watch Raw?
I did.
Okay. So Mommy and Io, rivals or a mutual admiration society? What's going on here? Because it seems like there's
Are we hinting at a Mommy heel turn?
Well, here's the thing. Can you turn Mommy heel? Because she was a heel and she was getting cheered regardless if she was a heel. I wonder if you're turning Io heel.
Interesting, but the way Io is being received by the crowd, though, what Mom and what Rhea was saying about, are you really sure you want to introduce? You're choosing this.
Yeah, good point. Because the other thing is Rhea could definitely absorb a hit in crowd reaction, whereas Io, you're right. It probably is more likely.
And I'm not saying that that's where they're going to go, but there's something ominous about the way Rhea said that I'm kind of like, interesting. Are they going to move her in a more heelish direction or not? Like Io Sky right now is beloved by the fans. She has some kind of connection with them that is just very organic, and she is just that plucky, jovial, energetic, and kind of fighting from behind babyface that fans love to invest in. And I don't think the momentum is in her direction to move her into a heelish mode unless there's something big they can do to kind of really flip the switch and make that happen.
Yeah.
But with Rhea, I can see a case where she goes too far and the fans start to revolt on her a little bit. Like you're going too far with this person that we have embraced. And so it feels like the recipe is there for her to go heel, but maybe it turns into more of a mutual, respect sort of thing. I don't know.
Yeah. The tough thing is my whole thing of heel face in wrestling right now is a little bit jaded just because it seems like the crowds are there to just sing along with the greatest hits. Like even when John Cena doing everything he can to be a heel, he's still getting cheered because he's John Cena and people want the back and forth. And it doesn't feel like even when people were booing Dominic Mysterio, they were kind of doing it because, well, this is the thing we do. Like that is the one thing that I think the death of kayfabe has kind of wrought, is this sense of like that genuine hatred is very rare, and it was there for Dom for a period of time, but I think then it kind of goes over the hump and then it's just like, well, this is what we do. Yeah. So I kind of wonder if you can genuinely turn someone like Rhea heel, and what lengths do you have to go to?
Well, it's got to be it's got to be an action so vile and dastardly against someone that fans universally embrace, and Io seems to possess that somehow. You know what I mean? And that's that kind of goes back to my whole Cena Cody thing, that maybe Cena's last match is like, maybe what we see is a trilogy of matches between Cena and Cody. Cena may end up winning the SummerSlam match and continue on with the championship. Cody finally overcomes him in December, but has to basically sell his soul in order to do that. And by doing so, and by doing it in a way that makes John Cena very sympathetic, You have because the fan, like, let's be honest, the fans are still cheering John Cena regardless of his actions. Yeah. They are loving him because they know he's leaving.
Mm-hmm.
And if Cody does something so vile to John that it just causes the fans to completely turn on him, I mean, and I'm sorry to go down this road, but I got to say too, in order for this to work, Cody's music has to change. He's still the American Nightmare, but it's got to be something different. You can't have the whoa, like you've got to get rid of that.
Yeah.
Same thing with Punk. If Punk ever goes heel, he's got to get rid of Cult of Personality. The music is almost, I don't want to say the music's more popular than him, but the music is so associated to him that fans are not going to boo when that music starts. That music just causes you to just get energy.
And they tried to do something with that with John Cena, where they took away the video package, but you kept the most heel thing John Cena could have done is essentially no music. Just consistently no music, the black LED screen with John Cena in just plain white type.
Yep.
Coming to the ring. That would have been the ultimate heel move.
Yeah.
But even then, I could see that people still cheering him. So, yeah. My next question. Are we just watching the WWF turn, or WWE, excuse me, hey, we're not getting sued, whatever. The Panda ain't suing us. Is WWE turning Gunther into like a Muppet? Because here's the thing, like, he has this thing now where whenever someone comes out and challenges him, he has this half amused look on his face, like he doesn't really know what the hell is going on. It's like he's a punch drunk freaking idiot out there just kind of
whoa, player.
He did this with Jey Uso.
His first statement to Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman, right? Like, I think it was to Seth and Paul, was like, "You guys flew halfway around the world to accomplish absolutely nothing." And I thought that was absolutely hysterical when he said that.
It is, but then just as everything is happening around him, and then everything that happened with Jey Uso, where we saw him go to that length with Jimmy Uso, and then immediately they retreated from that and started making him kind of like, I'm just like, it sucks because I want to believe in Gunther as the heel, just guy who just is better than everyone else.
Yep.
But his presentation in the ring sometimes in these promos, where his facial expression, it literally is just like, I'm like, can we get some notes on this? Can someone play the video back to him and go, does this really look like the guy who is capable of handling everything? Or is this like, I get where you're going, where you're just kind of the idea of you are so far above everyone that you're bemused by everything. I get that. But you're going to a place now where you just kind of look like a dumbass.
Yeah.
And you don't really understand what's going on around you.
Mm-hmm.
That's not where you want to be. You got to find another way to kind of tweak this a little couple degrees. Because that was the kind of the thing that I got there. I'm like, man, I want Gunther to be a bit more of a badass. I want him to feel a little bit more in control of the situation rather than just like, oh, look at all this stuff that's going on around me.
Wait, are you saying Gunther's Rodney Dangerfield?
Well, he's not getting a lot of respect these days. Let's just put
no respect. Hey.
Then I will say this. So Karrion Kross, what do you think? Good swing on that lead pipe?
Oh, very nice
steel
swing.
pipe.
Very
and
nice.
I love the fact how he dropped it. He's like, what? That was actually nice. Kind of plays into the character nicely.
What happened?
Yeah. What'd you think of Sammy doing the Penta walk?
Oh, that was great. Oh, wait a minute. One thing we didn't talk about in Night of Champions, Penta coming out to do a save and then doing the walk. Like, come on, man. You're taking me out of it. Come on.
Show a little initiative. Someone's getting their ass beat. You got to get your stuff in.
It's like haul your ass down to the ring and let's lace them in. Come on now.
But at least he made up for it by doing the dive off of the stage.
That impressive, most impressive.
And then I love the fact that they they did the mirror dive to the flip to the outside. That was great.
That was great.
Oh my gosh, Sammy is way more athletically talented than we really give him credit for. Just because he looks like Sammy, just because he looks like this dude who's like, he looks like someone who just fell off a stool at your local bar, not someone who should be able to do all this stuff. And it's fantastic. I did really love that little tribute to Sabu where and he's done it before, where he does is it the Arabian Press or whatever, where he does the jump, bounces off the top rope, and then flips to the outside of the ring.
Yes.
But then he did the thing where he looked up and he did the
There it is. There it is.
That was beautiful. I love that. What'd you think about kind of that match overall? Like, how are you feeling about? I had feelings about this before, and screw it. I'll ruin your feelings about this. I've been a little on the fence about the whole Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker, like as the muscle for Seth Rollins, because I was like, well, you went from being IC champ to now you're just a lackey for Braun Breaker. Like Bronson Reed, I get it. It's like here any way that he can get back over after like doing something stupid and jumping off the War Games match and effing up his leg, which is like, who didn't see this coming?
Yeah.
But I do like how he seems to be trying to assert himself in that faction and sowing the seeds for him going rogue later on, kind of being that monster that devours. I kind of like that. But I mean, overall, how'd you feel about this match? Because I thought it was a great main event.
I thought it was a great main event. I know you wrote that Sheamus Rusev went way too long.
Oh, good God, yes. I'm sorry, I skipped over that one.
No, shame on you, sir. That was a well done match.
No, that went about.
That was well done. Sheamus was sweating buckets.
Sheamus sweats buckets peeling an orange. That means nothing. The fact is, it was a Haas match. It was good for what it was, but it went way too long. Like there's only so many notes those two guys can play, and it did not need the extra commercial break that it went to.
Building up Rusev, and they're burning time because apparently they don't have a lot of stories to tell.
No, they've got plenty. They got plenty of people on the roster. They've got how many people on the roster that aren't getting TV time?
I'm surprised you didn't ask me the most important question of all.
Yeah.
That we now understand that Chad Gable cannot be El Grande Americano.
That was so totally someone else. I love how they came up. They didn't even bother to find anyone who looked even vaguely like Chad, like a good 6 inches taller, like gangly, the whole thing. I'm like,
well, you know who it was,
they might as well.
You?
No. I did.
It was Ludwig Kaiser.
Okay.
He's standing in the background as Gable is, basically giving the Creed brothers and Ivy Nile their marching orders before he leaves for injury. And in the background you see Ludwig Kaiser, and all of a sudden when El Grande Americano shows up, he remarkably has the same physique as Ludwig Kaiser.
You know what I would have loved? I would have loved if like every week it's someone different.
I think that's where they're going.
And someone
that's where they're going.
Like honestly, I want to see Xavier Woods as Grand American. Just make it so over the top. Like, wait, something ain't quite right.
Oh my God, I almost spit my water out on that one. That is phenomenal.
I just want and just people play it off like, oh no, that's totally him. How'd you not? Why do you not think it's him? Like,
oh my God,
and just like not say the thing out loud. Like that would be perfect, but it's not going to happen.
It'd be really funny if Andrade dresses up like he goes full on heel, ladies and gentlemen.
No, and then walks by Charlotte, and she's like. Couldn't be, and just walks off.
Oh my gosh.
And of course we get Jey Uso to the rescue because you can't go an entire Raw without at least one yeet session. Which there was a fan in the audience that said that had a sign that said I called off work to yeet. And I'm like, oh well, there you go. But yeah, overall, decent follow up to a PLE on Raw, and
I got to say, there was no more satisfying moment.
Yes.
Then when Punk is leaving, doing his march away from the ring, and Rollins is standing there all happy with himself, like, yeah, take off, you little biatch or whatever.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden behind him, there he is eating some popcorn. L.A. Knight, yeah, throwing. I mean, just pulling the Steve Austin and hitting him with the cup of popcorn, and just all hell breaks loose after that. The funniest part, and I don't know if this stood out to you, was they clearly were being careful about what they were running into. Like, there was a couple times when Knight was going to throw Rollins into like the bar, and there's the bartender, and she's sitting there smiling, like not like in any sort of fear whatsoever. And it was really funny. It was just strange, because you could tell they couldn't do certain things or whatever.
Well, it's not the good old Attitude Era days where they have that stuff. The only thing I was waiting for was like after. It was kind of lame how Rollins dumped like the beer on LA Knight and used that to make the getaway.
Yeah.
I was waiting for LA Knight to just kind of shake it off and go back to the bar like, give me a cold one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Might as well. I'm already soaked in beer. But all right, so there we go. The Weekend Wrestling Geek.
That's, my friends, is your 1 hour and 45 minute, a record.
There's a little bit that's going to trimmed off there.
Week in Geek.
All right, well, thank you. Now we're going to go on to Mount Bassmore. So what we have done here, of course, Mount Rushmore has, 4 faces on it, and we'll leave aside the problematic location of said monument and all of that discussion, and we'll just go with the fact that it's kind of a commonly used term for your top whatevers. Anywho, so we've got some different divisions here leading up to basically the best of the best. So instead of just going with one kind of Mount Bassmore, I decided I was going to torture the man they call Tim and break this down into some different areas, because I feel that different bass players excel in different areas. And so it's kind of nice to give each their due. And then we will take that and our, just to be clear, the pinnacle, the best of the best, the ultimate Mount Bassmore does not have to come from necessarily your other divisions. Like, you could just pull a wild card out of there and throw one in, but this kind of just demonstrates the breadth of bass players that are out there. And of course, we're going to leave some out because, dear God, there's a lot of really good ones.
I'm just going to say up front that listeners may question, they may become irate with, they may completely ignore,
they may even get the squirts,
my bass bona fides. They are in order, they have been filed, they've been organized. But I got to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, when we get into this, I am not going to be objective in any way, shape, or form. This is totally subjective. The man they call Tim is right.
You should be. Now,
and please trust Uncle Todd. He is clearly the more educated musically between the two of us, and he follow him, and you will not go wrong.
So the big question I have here is because it always gets cut off in the frame because we crop this a little bit so that we can both be side to side here on the interwebs. Because we're both bass guitarists.
Yes.
I don't think either of us would put ourselves anywhere within striking distance of the people who are going to be on these lists. But prominently displayed in your background is your bass guitar. What are you playing?
Not just a bass guitar. This is my Fender Jazz Bass, Geddy Lee Signature Jazz Bass.
Why don't you pull it into frame here, sir? Because it gets cut off in the way that I crop this. So let's see her.
All right. I mean, I've got to kind of start this way and move my way up.
Black and white, classic color scheme. Yep.
Yes.
I like it.
This is very much, and then if I flip it around, you'll see a little squiggle on the back. That is the Geddy Lee signature right there.
Nice. Very cool.
So I had my eye on this one for quite some time, and during COVID, decided that my birthday was the appropriate time in 2021 to seal the deal. And so I went ahead and purchased this, and I have not been disappointed. It is, I mean, it's a phenomenal jazz bass. I love playing it. It has a great sound to it.
Mm-hmm.
I do try to get, I am a bit of a Geddy Lee fanboy, as you will soon find out.
No.
And I do, what I really love is kind of the growly sound he kind of gets out of his bass, through the amp, and I try to recreate that a little bit on my own when I do play. So I very much appreciate and enjoy this instrument. I do have a 5-string Fender Jazz bass as well.
Heresy.
The low B, my friend, is a string to explore, and I would implore you to do so.
4 strings were good enough for Jocko, Flea, Getty. What do you need the 5th for, I ask? 6, pure madness.
Just another dimension. Another dimension, ladies and gentlemen. Another dimension.
Okay, fine. Well, in that case, if you're going to show that off...
yeah, where's yours?
So, here we have a Franken bass.
Ah, nice.
So, starting off there, nothing.
Very nice.
So this was a bass that bought from one of my favorite bass players, who's not on the list, but John Bursk. Played with him now in 3 different bands, nice. And one of those guys who I describe as wallpaper in terms of playing in a band. He's one of those guys you don't really notice unless you really start paying attention, because he just fits into everything that is going so well, so tastefully, and is just so good at serving the songs, at serving the sound of the band, all of that. And he played this bass for years. And the one thing that is notable about John is back in the day, he was an absolute gear whore. Like he went through basses like you wouldn't believe. He was always buying and selling something. And the way he described, he's like, this is how I've managed to stay married for so long, is because I just switch basses all the time. Like he was monogamous to his wife, faithful to his wife. He was absolutely just hoeing around with any kind of gear he could. And so he had this bass for a long time, and I had my eye on it because I was like, that is a nice
he and Charles Wright need to have a conversation.
Maybe. And I was looking to upgrade my bass game, and I was like, hey, how much are you looking to sell that for? And he told me, I'm like, it's a bit more than what I wanted to pay.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, fine. And I'm in the back of my head, I'm like, he'll sell it. He's going to see something else he wants, and he'll want that cash. And so one day he was like, how much did you want to pay? I was like, I'll pay this much. And he's like, all right. I went and wrote him a check. Like, we were rehearsing in my garage. I stopped rehearsal so I could go write a check and give it to him before he changed his mind. And then a couple times after that, he would either forget his bass or his bass he was working on. He's like, hey, can I borrow yours for rehearsal? And he would play. He's like, oh, man, I forgot how nice this bass was. I was like, yeah, give it back. You're not keeping it. So it's basically a parts bass. So he put this together himself. The thing I loved most about it is the double, like the P bass pickups. Yeah. I've just always loved that sound.
Yeah.
My favorite bass before this was a bass that my wife actually found at a Goodwill for like $80, and it was way more dinged up and crappier than the bass that she bought me when I first started playing. And I love that bass more than the one that she bought me, like the nice one. Like, I love the crappy Fender P bass Squire, just because of the double pickups. Like, those pickups just felt like they're so meaty and so awesome. So I love the fact that he had that, but also has a little bridge pickup here, and I love how that can kind of split the sound a little bit, and it's very nice, and with flat wounds as well. So
nice.
It's just butter. It's butter. I love this thing.
Butter.
All right. Let me put this back over here. As I'm sitting there fondling and caressing my bass. So. Oh my. First division, we're going to go with my personal favorite, the Funk, Soul, and R&B division. And here's our top 4. So 4 for me, I'm going to go with a name that might not be a household name. This could have very easily have been, oh my gosh, what's his name? Verdine? Hang on a second. Earth, Wind, and Fire. Verdine White, sorry, from Earth, Wind, and Fire, or any number of bass players from 70s funk bands. But I'm going to go with Alan Gorey, who was the bass player, one of the founding members of Average White Band. Dear God, I mean, if you really listen to Average White Band and you listen to some of those bass lines, so tasty, so good. The man was a monster, and I got to see them play live, opening for Tower of Power once, and one of the best concerts I've ever seen. And he was playing then, and sang a lot as well, which is also great because it's kind of what I do. So, who you got at number 4 for the funk, soul, and R&B division?
I'm going to need your help. I am not well versed in the history of these people, so please step in and help me here.
Mm-hmm.
I am struggling. Wrestling is my forte, not bass. I mean, I play bass. I love music, but I'm just not steeped in the history. But my number 4 is Bootsy Collins.
Oh, yeah, Bubba.
Yeah!
Oh, Bootsy is... Oh, so this dude was playing with James
Groove
Brown.
was in the hot.
Back when he was... The funny thing is, he didn't actually play bass on that. On the.
Seriously?
He was in the video, but he actually did not play in the studio. I thought he did.
Bootsy, you cheated me.
I was convinced. Bootsy was playing with James Brown when he was like a teenager.
That's incredible.
And he was like the replacement for when, because at one point James Brown's original band basically quit on him because they wanted more money. He's like, I don't care, y'all gonna quit, and he went out and hired another band, and Bootsy was part of that band. And so he played with James Brown for a while, and then he went on to play with Parliament when they first started coming together, and then spun out of Parliament into Bootsy's rubber band after, and then you'd have this thing where you'd have like Bootsy's rubber band opening for Funkadelic, opening for Parliament, and it's like an intermixing of all these same cats playing in different bands. Oh my gosh. And one of those, and the founder of Bootsy and the discoverer of Bootsy's funk formula, which is basically you got to hit the 1, and then 2, 3, and 4, you fill that with whatever else you want to do, but you come back to boom, boom. You always come back to that 1 and hit the 1 solid.
Yeah. Then
fill with whatever else you want, but you got to hit that 1, and he got that from James Brown. Like, always just give me that 1. Oh my gosh. There was a story. Someone had asked when Bootsy was playing with Parliament, who is the funkiest member of the band? And I mean, keep in mind, Parliament, one of the funkiest bands ever. So, and they said, who's the funkiest player in the band? And they're like, Bootsy. Bootsy could take a stick and hit it on the ground. You'd be like, oh, damn, that's funky. And it's true. And the man lives the gimmick. Like, you see the star glasses, the star bass, all that. Like, that appears to be who Bootsy is 24/7, which is a lot to believe. But oh my gosh, yeah, great, fantastic choice, sir. Fantastic choice.
Thank you. Uncle Todd is going to be our Sherpa through this, ladies and gentlemen, because while I know some bass players, I'm just going off of memory. There are probably other people that I'm just not aware of, but I'm learning from the man. So.
Well, I know some. I don't know.
I know wrestling. He knows bass playing.
Well, let's not get too carried away. I'll show my ass here pretty soon. My number 3 is
okay, Bobby Heenan.
Larry Graham. Larry Graham, he of Sly and the Family Stone, Graham Central Station. This is a dude who essentially introduced slap bass to the masses. Thank You for Letting Me Be Myself was kind of the introduction of this style of playing bass on a large scale. I'm sure someone was doing something similar to it, but this was really where it came to the forefront. And it really came from, there's a great video, I'll see if I can find it, where Larry Graham talks about when he first started playing, and he was in a group with his mother and I think a sister or whatever, and the drummer quit. And so essentially on bass, he had to keep time, and the slap and the pluck kind of came from trying to do like a bass drum snare thing. And you watch this guy play, and it is it is insane. There's a series of videos of him with him and just a drummer, and he's just going nuts. And it's the whole song. Like what he is playing gives you everything you need. Just him and a beat is all that's necessary. That is an amazing thing because bass is not exactly the greatest instrument to hear all by itself.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And this dude makes it work.
Yeah.
And such an entertainer and a showman as well. Just fantastic. Who's your number 3?
I could be wrong in naming this person, but I believe I will submit at least higher ground into the body of evidence. But my number 3 for funk soul R&B division is Flea.
He's a funky bad man. Yeah.
Flea is he's incredible. I'm just floored by, and you know I'll hit on this throughout because he will come up again, but to jump around and entertain fans and be a showman and play, you know, I've tried to mimic, you know, I've tried to learn higher ground and I've tried to mimic what he does, and I'm just like, to play this and be bouncing around like an insane person.
Mm-hmm.
What a talent. You know what I mean? Like I've always been amazed and floored by him, with his energy, with his with his energy. I mean, it's an energy. You see him move and you're just like, my God, this guy is like infused with way more power and energy than I am.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've always enjoyed his playing, and you know, of course, most of my exposure to him is through the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and so I, right or wrong, have put as my number 3 Flea.
He's got a distinctive style.
He does, and
even though I mean,
I love his slap technique. Like
yeah.
He just has such a way about playing that is just, it just mesmerizes me. It is fun to listen to him,
mm-hmm.
and so I don't know if you consider him a funk soul R&B person, but
totally.
He plays into that. So
a lot of Chili Peppers stuff dabbles in funk. I mean, they had an album produced by George Clinton, so I mean, you know, they got to be some funky ass white boys there. So
yes.
Yeah. My number 2 is going to be James Jamerson. He of the Funk Brothers, the house band from Motown Records. The guy who essentially just as a session player, and I believe there's only 1 or 2 videos of him playing live. Like, this is a guy who recorded a ton of music, but just was not a guy who ended up being in the public eye and on TV or anything like that, where you have footage of him playing. He was just solely a session recording guy. Back in the day, that was a thing. Like, you just didn't know who played on a lot of these albums. Yeah. And in many cases was given, okay, here are the changes, come up with a part.
Yeah.
And for me, I mean, this guy played on so many hit records, but to me, his piece de resistance is Marvin Gaye's What's Going On. And came up with the bass lines there that are gorgeous, that adds so much to that music and give it so much of its life. And it's amazing. Like, and is one of those guys who, when I play, I actually play primarily with my thumb now. But before, I would just play one finger. I could never quite get the paddle. I'm still working on it, but I'm not a 2-finger sort of being able to hop all over the strings kind of guy. And I felt insecure about that until, like, James Jamerson, like, he had the hook. He did everything with one finger. And you listen to his bass playing, it's like, how in the hell did you do that? Like, It doesn't seem possible. So it kind of made me feel better about, like, oh, okay, so different people have different ways of doing things. And it kind of made me feel good about, like, okay, well, if this feels right for me, sure, if it was good enough for like hundreds of hit records, I guess it's all right for me to do things the way that I kind of see the fit. So one of the great, not just R&B bass players of all time, but one of the best bass players of all time, period.
Nice.
Who's your number 2?
My number 2, and tell me if I'm off in putting him in this category, but I think I'm on the money. Is someone I got the privilege of meeting last summer when he and his brothers performed at Ravinia. Victor Wooten. And man, if you ever heard Victor Wooten play, it is just I don't know. My mind is blown every single time. And
he's a mutant.
He is.
He's an alien.
And most importantly though, and I talked about this in past episodes, especially last fall when I had the opportunity to meet him. What a human being though, and I follow him on Instagram, and he has such great content that he puts out there. He has every Wednesday a Words of Wisdom that he does, and really appreciate what he puts out there to other musicians, and the positivity and the way he tries to really encourage artistry and musicianship and individuals. And so from body of work, I wouldn't be able to tell you the first song from a funk soul perspective, R&B perspective that he plays, but what I heard him play when I was at Ravinia definitely falls into this category in some way, shape, or form. And just love the creativity and the way he plays, and just the style that he plays in. It's a very creative and very, very just very interesting to listen to him and his brother's work. And so I I put him at a number 2, mostly out of familiarity. I don't know if others would agree with the ranking, but that's where I put him.
All right. Well, working through funk, soul, and R&B, I would be remiss if I did not put as my number 1 Francis Rocco Prestia, bass player for Tower of Power. Found one of the most original bass players in this kind of group of genres, in that the dude was so busy. He kind of had this, it's called fingerstyle funk, where he's playing a ton of notes, but never seemed like he got in the way of anything. And if you go and listen to the song What Is Hip, which gets cited at the end of every one of our shows, that is, if you look at the sheet music of that, it's all black ink. Like that is a piece of sheet music that bass players cringe when they see, because they're like, how in the hell am I going to do this? Because it's not just the pulse of that song is basically like, but that ain't enough. Then he's like, like, does this stuff and keeps that pulse going, even though he then goes all over the frets and comes back to it and is rock friggin' solid. And could vary what he's doing too. He could do some straight up, like, just, blues inspired stuff and ballads and all that. But I mean, his style was so uniquely his own, and made Tower of Power what it was, because his interplay with David Garibaldi, specifically on their heyday albums, and then later with other drummers that they would have in, and then once again with Garibaldi before Rocco had to stop touring. But hearing that interaction was so amazing, because both of them had this style of like lots of notes, lots of stuff going on, but it melded in this way that then provided this bed that everything else sat on. It was amazing to hear, and is still one of the most amazing bass players to listen to for me, because I'm like, there's no way in hell I'm ever going to sound like that. There's no way I'm ever going to play that. But it's just, it's sheerly like, I'm just glad that I know a little bit like Victor Wooten. Like, I can never do that, but I'm just glad to know that somebody could.
Yes.
It's like, I can appreciate the greatness that is. Yeah. So who is your number 1 for the funk, soul, and R&B division?
There may be some disagreement around this, but I'm going to, just work the gimmick, baby. Geddy Lee.
All right, let's go with the jazz division now.
My exhibits for this one are Hold Your Fire, Presto, and Roll the Bones, which are largely considered the more jazzier phase of Rush. So
that's the next division, sir.
Well,
do they do any funk? I mean, they're Canadian.
Yeah, they do a little bit of funk here and there. Definitely Roll the Bones. They get a little funky.
Okay.
Like
all
a
right.
bow-legged monkey.
Ooh, look at you citing the Tower Power lyric. All right, so let's go with the jazz division. And I will freely admit I'm going to be a little bit more circumspect on my my kind of explanations and exploitations.
Actually, but before we start the jazz
Oh,
division,
boy.
can I
Yes.
take a bathroom break?
No.
Come on.
All right, fine. Just because you're wearing a Tower Power shirt.
12 seconds later.
So now we're going to talk about the jazz music. My number 4 for the jazz division is going to be Ray Brown. Ray Brown played with Oscar Peterson, Ella Fitzgerald, amongst many others. Founding member of the group that would later develop into the Modern Jazz Quartet. Upright double bass player. I mean, solid. I've got a couple of his records. I got to admit, I can't talk chapter and verse about his career and the songs that I love, but one of those cats who is just so rock solid in what he does that it's tough not to admire that steadiness, especially in jazz where things can kind of get a little loose and all that. It's like to see someone just kind of be able to maintain that stability around them, to be that point that everyone is going to orbit around, is really impressive. Who do you got at number 4 for yourself?
I'm going to be very original and say Victor Wooten.
Ah, well, you doubling up. All right.
I am.
Fair enough.
Now, if you would ask me, man, they call Tim, please pontificate about the jazz works of one Victor Wooten. I would sadly be undereducated in that. I do know he has played in the jazz space.
Mm-hmm.
As I mentioned, he is a bass player who I've enjoyed and have had the opportunity to meet. So I wanted to just include him in my top 4 because I know the man possesses some crazy mad skills and can probably keep up with the best of them in this division. So that is my reasoning, unless you have something, sir, that you can quote chapter and verse on for his contributions to jazz.
No, the thing is, Victor Wooten could play whatever he wants. He can play whatever in whatever genre he wants, and he'll find a way to make it work. So that, well within your bounds there. Number 3 for me is going to be Milt the Judge Hinton. I got a chance to actually.
I love that name, by the way.
Oh, it was so great! I got a chance to see Milt play with the Seacoast Big Band back at the Music Hall in my college, or actually I want to say end of high school, beginning of college years, and was just astounded. It was the first time I ever saw anybody kind of like play a double, I don't even know what to call it. So you're playing upright and it's like dum 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 dum, and he's doing this like playing like 30-second notes, and I'm just like, as like a punk kid, just like my jaw hit the floor. I'm like, how in the hell is he doing that? Amazing. And that was another guy who he just played with everybody. There was a great CD that now is lost to time for me. I wish I still had it, but it was Clark Terry and Friends with the UNH Jazz Band, and on that disc he does a song with the band, but Milt Hinton is sitting in. And Clark says, it's the song called Salt Peanuts, which was a Dizzy Gillespie tune. And he says, if Dizzy can do that, then me and Judge can do Salt Peanuts. And it was just phenomenal. So yeah, Milt gets a nod there just because of kind of personal experience. What you got for number 3, sir, in the jazz division?
Sorry, I'm chomping on some nuts here.
Oh no, we can all hear it. Don't worry.
Really? Even when the mic's far away from me?
I mean, it might not come out after all the processing, but I could still hear it. But don't let that bother you. It's a nice background noise.
I won't. My number 3 is an artist I became familiar with back in the mid to late 2010s through Sirius XM Radio, their jazz channel, Christian McBride. He had a jazz show on Sunday afternoons, and so as we were in the car running errands and so forth, I would usually have it on. Very much appreciated. the various artists that he would have on, and have come to listen to him on Spotify, and would highly encourage you to as well. He's just very talented, but thought he was a good representation of jazz bass playing, and so I included him in it. I don't know if there's anything in addition, sir, that you would like to add to that, but that is my number 3.
Only that his Live at the Village Vanguard album from, 2015, the Christian McBride Trio, because Christian's got himself about 3 or 4 different bands that he plays with on the regular, is really good. I remember kind of bouncing around and finding that on Apple Music, and it was like, ooh, and it's outstanding. I have so much respect for bass players who, I never quite understood, because I started playing bass in a church setting, which, it's kind of nice because, you're supposed to forgive people. So it's nice when I blew changes, that's kind of the baseline. But, there's a larger band around you, and playing now in a trio, it makes me appreciate bass players who play in a setting like that, and especially in jazz, where a trio is like, traditionally, I at least from what I've seen, a jazz trio is like bass, drums, piano. So I mean, there's not a lot of space to hide there. And even playing in what I do is like a rock blues trio, like there is nowhere to hide. Like if I mess up the bass part, there's no keyboards there to make up for it, or any second guitar player or anything like that. Like it's drums, bass, guitar. That's it. So if you're very much more exposed. So I'm always have a lot of admiration for bass players in those settings, because it's like ain't nowhere for you to hide. If you mess up, you blow a change and everybody gonna know it. Even people who don't know music are gonna be like, that note, not so much what should have happened. But yeah, I think I just scrolled past where I want to. Yes. Okay. My number 2 is going to be Ron Carter, who, ladies and gentlemen, is still out there playing today at the age of 88. Ron Carter, upright jazz player. He played with a lot of Miles Davis. Is just one of those dudes who he played with everybody, and gets a nod, especially because I bought one of his albums and found it at the discount bin at the Bull Moose in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, back before they moved out of town and their discount bin kind of turned to crap. But I posted on Instagram, and Ron Carter liked my Instagram post of me buying his album, and I just about shat myself. So just for that alone, he makes the number 2 spot for me in the jazz division. Who you got at number 2?
Well, help me out with this one, but I think I'm not too far off. Jaco Pastorius?
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed.
Yes, sir. Again, know about him mostly through Geddy Lee and his admiration for him.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, basically a very talented bass player whose contributions to jazz has been duly noted. And I don't know, do you know of any particular albums or any specific things that I'm...
Jaco is an interesting cat, man. Like I only know, I don't, he didn't make my list only because I started playing bass in my 30s. So I mean, a lot of the people I knew who are hardcore Jaco admirers are people who grew up playing bass, and so kind of had that early exposure to him. I just kind of knew of him as I ain't ever going to be able to do that. I've got a kid, I've got a mortgage, I've got a job. I don't have 8 to 10 hours a day to practice and to learn how to play bass like that. So I was just sort of all right, well, cool. I know he was an incredible innovator in terms of being one of those guys playing jazz on a bass guitar rather than an upright bass. And also in that he's very, he talked about in interviews, he kind of listened to everything growing up. He grew up in Florida, which is not exactly the jazz hotbed of America. And he just kind of incorporated all these things in and had this way of not being a snob about kind of different types of music. Like he played in a country and western band for a while and did this and that, and he was just like kind of had this love of all things music. Also had a very high esteem of himself. Someone asked him in an interview once, where do you think the future of jazz is going? He's like, well, I'm playing at this place, like kind of talking about himself as the future of jazz. Played with a bunch of cats, and unfortunately kind of came to a not so great end. But also it was a guy who anyone who's DIY has got to admire the fact that this dude decided he wanted a fretless bass and just went and ripped all of the frets out of his Fender jazz bass and then just put like poly to fill in the holes and created his own fretless bass guitar when that really wasn't a thing back in the day. It was called the Bass of Doom, which at one point was owned by one of the people in your rock, metal, and blues division bassist, and then was given, I believe, back to Jocko's son, who is now a bass player of some renown on his own. But yeah, no, a phenomenal innovator in what the bass could be in terms of a solo instrument, for sure.
Nice. Thank you for covering for me.
Oh, hey, it's fine. So number one for me, Charles Mingus. I just love the fact that Charles Mingus is this dude who is ultra talented, kind of out there and ornery. Like, I just appreciate that combination. I just love that. And didn't really give.
Did you like the Grandpa Simpson of jazz bass players?
In some ways, yes. I just love the fact that he just didn't give a rip. And was like, this is what I'm gonna do. And his 3 or 4 Shades of Blue is one of my favorite jazz albums as a go-to. But also, Epitaph, Town Hall Concert, just some stuff that is, not just a bass player, but a composer and an arranger and a band leader. This guy kind of was all of that, and also just kind of a badass, ornery dude. And I love that combination. So who do you got for number one in your jazz division, sir?
Do I need to name him?
Unless you want to try and act like everyone who listens to this show is a psychic, yeah.
Well, once again, number one in jazz, Geddy Lee.
All right, let's move on to rock, metal, and blues division.
Hey, come on now. Presto and Roll Your Bones, very...
You just keep citing like those same 2 songs.
They're albums, sir, albums.
Oh, albums, whatever. The frack ever, I don't care. All right, so let's go with rock, metal, and blues division. I'll tell you what, let's do something different. Let's have you start off with your number 4.
While I'm eating? Come on.
Well, you got a mouthful of nuts, and you know what? I'll, out of respect for you, I won't even make a joke about that.
Son of a gun.
You're welcome. I'm waiting for an almond to come shooting out of one of your nostrils.
Almost. All right, in the rock, metal, and blues division, my number 4 is the man they call Flea.
That's a fair assessment. Yeah,
playing with the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Just from a rock perspective, just brings the energy, brings the intensity, and musicianship in what he plays. And just very much enjoy his playing and the sound he creates with the band. I'm going to go with Flea.
Nice. Here is the one spot on this entire lineup that I'm going to cheat just a little bit, because this is where kind of sentiment and heart wins out over what, scale of importance for me. So my number 4, well, let's go with the honorable mention. The honorable mention for this category is Lemmy Kilmister. So Lemmy. Bass player, founder, lead singer of Motorhead, a guy who once roadied for Jimi Hendrix, one of those guys who's like, he was there he knew what it was like in the times before rock and roll, and just someone who's a real innovator in terms of how he played. Playing essentially guitar, playing bass and rhythm guitar all at the same time, and such an original and such a in your face sort of like unrepentant rocker. It was just one of those guys who is the epitome of living the gimmick. The only reason I didn't include him on my lineup is because honestly, I've only gotten into listening to Motorhead in the last few years. So in terms of my musical upbringing, didn't play an important part. But now I kind of am beginning to kind of understand like where he fits into all of the stuff that I kind of liked and have liked. But I've got to give the nod to my number 4 because they were much more part of my musical upbringing. My number 4 is probably one that wouldn't make a lot of lists for folks because they would be like, well, what's so remarkable about him? Number 4 is Dusty Hill from ZZ Top. And because ZZ Top was one of my first kind of bands that I just grabbed a hold, I was a member of the ZZ Top fan club, for God's sake. I might still be because I don't think I ever resigned. So technically, I'm still on the rolls.
Are
I
your
guess.
bona fides in order?
I think so. But Dusty is one of those dudes who he was just rock solid. There's nothing flashy about his playing. Like you listen to it and you're like, oh, there's some cool little things hidden in there that you listen to, and oh, that's kind of cool. But he is just rock solid, and if you watch especially later videos of ZZ Top live, you understand how important that is because you understand that Billy Gibbons has very little fear on stage, and part of that goes into like he'll kind of mess up. and it's the job of Frank Beard, the drummer, and Dusty Hill, the bass player, to just keep going and to give him a place to go back to after he screws up. And he never failed in that. He was just rock solid and did what he had to do, and was a pretty damn good singer too. So he was kind of important to my musical upbringing in that ZZ Top was a band that was kind of been at all phases of my musical development. I've always gone back to them, and now I get a chance to play their songs. Of course, being in a trio, it kind of makes sense. And I so much appreciate what he brought to that band and how much he helped create that sound. So, who do you got for number 3 on your list, sir?
My number 3 for rock, metal, and blues division is Robert Trujillo of Metallica. He is someone who I have had great interest in since he joined the band. He is just a badass bass player. I mean, if you've ever seen him in concert footage, just watching him play is just it's just incredible. I mean, just finger speed, the way he articulates and plays the Metallica set list is just incredible. And
and announcing herself with authority. Hang on a second here. So we'll pick it up with Robert in a moment. But
yes.
Don't you have people over? What are you doing in here?
There's people over the house. They're witnessing the free range idiocy
well,
cake being made.
She's got some friends over. So I was just wondering what you were coming in here for.
Surprised she didn't bring them in to comment.
I just want to say goodnight to you. Oh, okay. Did you want to show Tim your haircut? I don't know if you saw on the way in.
Very nice. Very nice.
So you're just saying goodnight?
Yes.
Can I get a comment from her on her K-pop experience?
Oh boy, we don't have time for that, sir. All right, just a quick comment on your K-pop experience in New York.
Very good. Very
nice.
happy.
Very cool.
I officially put up all my posters today, so my entire room is now fully decked out.
Nice. Nice.
There was lots of screaming. Lots of screaming.
Thank you to my wonderful, amazing father who managed to get me a piece of merch when the line, people were waiting in line like hours and hours before the concert at like
Wow.
11 in the morning outside the stadium to get merch. And the lines were all crazy during the concert to get merch. And he found a merch stand that was behind the stage that no one really knew about. And he got merch from there. And even though it's like 5 sizes too big,
That is the size that you told me to get.
I didn't know it was going to be an adult size. I thought they would have youth sizes at least.
Now you've got a dress.
I'm taking that to like the seamstress or something to see if they can fit it in or at least. Because I'm sorry, I'm not going to grow into that. I have to gain like 20 pounds.
And this, ladies and gentlemen, has been Kalen's Corner. You going to bed? No, you're not going to bed. Who am I kidding? Of course. Well, because, I mean, it is 12:11 a.m.
And you're watching Perspectives.
Yeah!
All right. So, good night when you finally do go to... I might go to bed before you go to bed. So, good night. Have fun with your friends. All right. The gasp is kind of ridiculous there. What's going on now?
So, of course, a staple in any girls' sleepover is, especially for us, since we're all K-pop stans, we were like, oh, we should take Stray Kids quizzes. And one of the quizzes that we did, one of them was like, what Stray Kids member are you? And then one of them was like, what Stray Kids member is your soulmate? And apparently, I'm Felix, Mr. Deep Voice. You know him from the concert. He's the blonde.
Sure. Oh, the blonde one?
Yeah. Apparently, I'm most like him. Apparently, that's who I am as a Stray Kids member. Because he has a very fun personality. He's very bright, very like sunshiny. And my soulmate apparently is Lino.
Good enough.
Okay.
I'm a little sad about that.
So this is Kalen's K-pop corner.
I think it's because I'm too much like Han, and they paired me up with him because they knew that they were meant to be.
Han Solo?
No, Han Ji-sung. They're my gay boys.
Oh, so you didn't get Hyunjin.
No, I wish. I really thought I was gonna get him, because I feel like I'm most like him.
I heard Han Solo. Are we looking to break out the Red 5 again, or?
You just shut your mouth right now. I've had enough about it out of you.
Oh, they did a video. Have you heard of Devon Rodriguez?
Devon Dudley?
I was gonna say
Artist
that.
in New York, Devon Rodriguez. He's like a portrait artist, but
Nope.
apparently he's like really famous in New York, and he does portraitures, and he's like really prominent figure. And he did one with Stray Kids, and it was really cool.
Was there any tables involved?
No.
Okay. Well, all right. That's still okay then.
Okay.
All right. Good night or good morning, as the case would be. Sweet dreams when you eventually all go to sleep. By the way, where are they sleeping? Did they get the air mattress out? Did you already blow it up? Okay. Well, fare thee well.
Oh, man. If she is not your daughter, dude. Holy crap. Man.
It's in the genes. All right.
Like
Good
the
night.
timbre, the tone, everything. Right on the money.
Enough out of you. All right. Good night. Sweet dreams. Love you.
I also saw a really handsome guy when we went grocery shopping. I just thought you should know.
Uh-huh.
What
did
did
you
she
say
just
anything
say?
to him?
No.
See, there we go.
He was Asian and he was attractive, and he was walking towards our direction, and I was having a talk with Cassie and Emma, and I couldn't say anything, and I was really scared, and we were also being tailed by like 2 other guys that were around our age and were really ugly, and we didn't know what to do, so we were just like in a panic, and we stick around for a while because we're like, maybe he'll come back, but he didn't.
When do you breathe? Like, there was no breath in that, any of that.
There was not.
Do you have gills?
No, I got talent.
Okay. All right. Well, good night. Have fun with friends. Love you.
Oh. Oh.
Half expecting to get... Yep, there we go. She's going to bite me. All right. And that was Kalen's Corner.
It's 12:15 a.m. on the East Coast.
And you're watching Perspectives.
Perspectives.
I feel
Did
good
she
about
say she was romancing someone at the store?
No, she saw some guy at the store, and then she didn't talk to him, which is kind of the MO. but what he
saw him at the store and was like,
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Anywho,
which
where
is
were
about
we?
what you want her to do. So
yeah, we were at Robert Trujillo. Trujillo, which if you haven't seen Rodrigo and Gabrielle, I think it was at Red Rocks. They played Metallica's Orion with Robert.
Oh,
and it was fracking amazing.
Yeah, he's incredible.
He is. The crab walk is a little off-putting, but
he does like you mean the kind of creepy walk he does when he plays.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like they were starting to play. I think it was Master of Puppets, and damn, is that freaky? To watch him play what he's playing, but also doing that walk is just like it's like Flea. It's like I don't know how these guys like play these intricate lines and yet still.
Yeah,
find the ability to walk, move, and not trip over and kill themselves in the process. So I'm going to put him as my number 3. I really enjoy his playing, and he has brought a lot of energy and just great playing into the Metallica sound sphere. And so, Robert Trujillo.
Very, very nice. I got to figure out where I am. Yes, number 3 for me, John Paul Jones of Led Zeppelin. My gosh, another guy who I didn't really appreciate until the guys in the band were like, "Hey, we should do some Zeppelin." I'm like, "All right, let's do that." And then I started listening, and they're like, "Oh man, you're gonna shred your vocal cords." I'm like, "Actually, I can do the Robert Plant parts on most of the songs." Like, really? I'm like, "Yeah, it's the fracking bass parts that I can't play."
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, and especially the combination. I'm like.
I mean, even Kashmir. Have you ever tried to play Kashmir?
Again, no, I haven't, because again, I'm like, I cannot do that and sing. Like
Right.
those two guys were separate in the band for a reason. No, I mean a guy who adds so much kind of again undercover that you don't necessarily notice. You don't necessarily understand that some of these songs are just made by that bass part. Because everyone's so obsessed with like, oh my gosh, Jimmy Page and Robert Plant's vocals and being a frontman and Bonham, and John Paul Jones kind of gets like 4th and 5th place behind all of them, and it's not really fair because he's a hell of a player. But it is an amazing, an amazing foundation for things to be put upon. And I've really come to appreciate him in the past couple of years. So who you got at number 2, sir?
Very nice. I've got John Entwistle from The Who.
Bull.
He is brings the thunder, and
was known as Thunder Fingers.
Yes, and just look him up on YouTube. You will find him playing some just absolutely incredible bass solos, and just a phenomenal player. Again, I'm not terribly detailed and intricate on deep information on him, but just all I can say is just look him up on YouTube and not just the Who, but look up John Entwistle solos. You will be blown away by the sound you hear. I mean, he's just and the way he plays it looks effortless, but my God, is he playing some incredibly challenging stuff. And so just very much appreciated his contributions into the rock sound sphere. The soundscape. I don't know what are we calling it? Soundscape, sound sphere, sound.
Yeah, I think that works.
All right, we'll go soundscape. John Entwistle is my number 2.
I actually tried to do a little bit of what he does, because everybody has their sound, and everyone, you do this with the pedals and your amp and the this and that. Yeah, I tried to kind of go more into what he did, where he turned like the treble up high end, just so high, just to kind of get to cut through.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, no, that's just not me. I don't need to cut through that much. I'm not doing anything nearly as interesting as John is.
Yep.
Let me just kind of, hang back. And was one of those guys who, he even said himself, like, him and Bill Wyman were the guys who just kind of stood on stage, and he compared them to like your local Undertaker, just as being very boring on stage, but just badasses in terms of like what they're contributing.
Yep.
No, good pick, sir.
Thank you.
My number 2 is Tom Hamilton of Aerosmith, another guy who I've been listening to Aerosmith since like grade school, and I was always much more of an Aerosmith over Rolling Stones kind of guy. Like Aerosmith was my great rock and roll band, and I never really truly appreciated Tom Hamilton until I started trying to figure out what Aerosmith songs I could play in a band, and I'm like, none of them. Like I'm my immediate thing was like, okay, I've got nothing, because he's doing cool stuff in every song. Even the ones you think are kind of easy, it's like, holy crap, he's still putting in a little bit of business here and there and everywhere. He's so good, dude. And tasteful, and in a lot of ways funky in a way, like that funky kind of blues influence works its way in there. Oh my gosh, so undervalued, so underrated as a bass player, and kind of the reason why I wanted to make sure I got him on this list, because I'm like, this is a dude who needs way more flowers thrown in his direction. And I believe he's out there touring now. Like Aerosmith had to kind of retire because of Steven Tyler's vocal issues. And he was just like, screw that, I'm going to keep going out. And he's still out there playing somewhere. I don't know. Maybe not tonight, but maybe tomorrow night. So who do you got at your number 1 for the rock, metal, and blues division?
Do you need to ask?
I mean, finally, we're going to get one that fits. So sure, go right ahead and say
Geddy Lee, ladies and gentlemen, of Rush. One of the greatest rock bands of all time.
Go ahead and give the bona fides here, because I feel like they fit a bit better.
Are you talking the albums? Is that? Oh,
are you going to cite some other than the 2 that you've been citing the whole time?
Maybe.
Oh, go right ahead then.
Is that what you'd like? I would say, their discography: Rush, Fly By Night, Caress of Steel, 2112, A Farewell to Kings, Hemispheres, Permanent Waves, Moving Pictures, Signals. Let me tell you, Signals, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to hear some shredding bass going on, Signals. Moving Pictures, YYZ, or YYZ. Check that out. Grace Under Pressure, Power Windows, Hold Your Fire, Presto, Roll the Bones. There they are. Counterparts, Test for Echo, Vapor Trail, Snakes and Arrows, and Clockwork Angels. Mr. Geddy Lee is a tour de force, if you will. He is just phenomenal playing, and especially like I said, YYZ over on YYZ. Sorry,
thank you.
And then over on where is it? Sorry, give me 1 second. I'm just trying to find where's the freaking music list. On Permanent Waves. No, sorry, Hemispheres. La Villa Strangiata. He has some incredible bass lines that you're just like, how on earth does a human play that? So I would just, if you haven't listened to him, highly recommend it to you. And, as the discography moves through, the ages, he is always finding new ways to play. He gets a little too much into the keyboards, I think, in the mid 80s into the early 90s.
Didn't everyone?
But comes back into the bass playing. Really when they come back to, in Counterparts and Test for Echo, he's back to playing, a Fender jazz bass, and that's pretty much what he plays kind of moving forward. And so he is my number 1 lock for bass player extraordinaire for rock, metal, and blues division. Who, sir, is your number 1?
My number 1 is the one and only Carol Kay. Carol Kay, let's just go with the first paragraph of her article on Wikipedia. Carol Kay is an American musician. She is one of the most prolific recorded bass guitarists in rock and pop music, playing on an estimated 10,000 recordings in a career spanning over 65 years. Carol Kay was part of the working for Phil Spector, Wall of Sound, Brian Wilson, Quincy Jones, the Wrecking Crew, someone who just played with everybody, like, and was another one of those session players who was entrusted to kind of come up with their own part in a lot of cases, where they'd be like, here's the changes, what's the bass part? Whatever you play. And so she would play, you know, she would come up with these parts that became iconic. Like for working with Brian Wilson, she played bass on, was it Good Vibrations that she came up with a bass part on? And is one of those people who I'm in awe of being able to work, because you don't work that long. You don't work that many years. You don't play on that many recordings if you can't adapt and just think on your feet and come up with ideas and come up with ways to fit into what's going on. And to me, that is such an incredible set of talents, and to have that breadth of experience and skill is remarkable to me, because there's no way in hell I could do that.
Nice.
You know, given any amount of time. But the one thing that I keep going back to, that I try and use even when singing, and I've told this to different people, but playing, singing, whatever, she talked about how rehearsing to a metronome or a click track. And she's like, when you're playing, you've got to make that metronome sound like it's grooving. So whatever you're doing takes this straight beat and makes it sound like it's really, like it's the hippest thing around. Like, and you're the one manipulating that, because it's just staying there. And what you're doing then makes that sound incredible. And to me, that's like one of the best summaries of what a bass player can do in a band. Like being able to change what's going on just by how you're playing and what you're playing, and the timing and your feel can change the entire way the band is playing.
Yeah.
And my God, Carol Kay. And here is another great thing. One of the most punk rock things ever. She turned down the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. She turned down induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. God love her. Amen. So she was selected induction, and where did she... I forget why she turned it down, though. Crap. I should know. Kay was selected for the induction in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in the Music Excellence category, but refused the honor and will not attend the ceremony. Badass. All right, so now we get to the pinnacle. This is the best of the best. This is truly Mount Bassmore right here. Our 4 top bass players, or our 4 favorites, the most impactful to us. And I'll let you do the honor, sir. Who do you got at number 4?
My number 4 is my number 4 that we talked about in the rock, metal, and blues division, the man they call Flea. I'm going to put it number 4. Again, bring the energy, bring the style, the slap, the funk. I mean, this guy plays across the board and is just phenomenal, and I very much enjoy his playing, so I'm going to go with the man they call Flea.
Very nice.
Your number 4, sir.
My number 4 is going to be Carol Kay. I don't feel like it's right to not include her here, because she's been such a staple of rock and roll recordings over the years. And again, the session players who don't necessarily get the recognition of touring or being part of a set band. And of course, back in the day, and unfortunately, we're at this place now in music where everything is digital, where you don't have liner notes. You don't get to see, when you go to Apple Music, who played on the album, which sucks. This is going back to the first days of Motown and everything, where they didn't list the session musicians. You know, it was the Temptations, it was Marvin Gaye, it was this and that. You didn't know who the Funk Brothers were. You didn't know you didn't know the guitar player who played that iconic, My Girl line. You didn't know any of them. And, she played on all these records that you're just like, oh yeah, that was the Beach Boys. No, that was Carol Kay. Brian Wilson knew that he couldn't hold a candle to Carol Kay. He's like, why don't you go come up with that part? So it feels wrong if she weren't included here. So Carol Kay is number 4 on my Mount Bassmore. Who do you got at number 3?
My number 3 is Thunderfingers, John Entwistle.
Good choice. I'm going to go with James Jamerson at number 3. I had it as Victor Wooten, but it just doesn't feel right not to include James Jamerson, another session player who didn't get nearly enough.
You do see who your number 1 is, don't you?
Yep, and I'm going to change that.
Oh, okay. All right, just making.
This is a work in progress as we're going here.
Well, little snug.
I know.
Shall I go with my number 2?
Yes, please, sir.
My number 2 is going to be the man, the myth, the legend, who I got to meet and talk to for a brief moment last year and get to witness he and his brothers playing the funk, playing the rock, playing the jazz. Victor Wooten, who is just an amazing bass player. One of the standout performances of that evening last fall, or not fall, sorry, it was August, last August, was he would play, basically he would call out the time signature, and he started at like 12, I don't know if it was 12-8 or something like that, and he would basically count down from there, 12-8, 11, maybe it was 11-7, 10-6, he'd just go all the way down, and he would just play a rhythm, and his brothers were just kind of trying to keep up with him. It was absolutely, I mean, I don't want to say it was hysterical, but it was really like they played up the comedy of it a little bit where they're just kind of trying to keep up with him. And it was a lot of fun to watch, but it's just incredible to see them play and to hear him play, and just the way he turns the bass from a rhythm instrument into, really kind of almost a lead instrument in a lot of ways. And so,
oh yeah, totally.
So yeah, I got to put Victor Wooten at number 2 for myself.
One of the greatest things I heard, so saw him play with Corey Wong in Portland a couple of years ago now, and the weird thing is, at the time, Corey Wong would do this thing where after the concert, they would almost do like a post-concert press scrum. So they would set this thing up, and all the players in the band would come out, and they would take questions. And Victor Wooten was there, and he talked about how he was having trouble playing with his fingers through the first few songs. He says, I just kind of went to the thumb for the rest of the show. And I'm like, it was kind of funny to me, because I'm like, damn, Vic Wooten had a rough night. Like that just it doesn't even compute. And I'm like, okay, so I don't feel so bad about my rough night. If Vic Wooten can have a rough night, I guess it's okay for me to have a rough night.
Yep.
He
is human.
Well, I still don't think he's fully human. I feel like he is an alien sent from the planet Basstron 3 to show us all what is possible on the bass guitar. And someday he will just go back to the mothership and be like, those silly people. So number 2 for me is Larry Graham. And I'm going to say that Larry Graham, the slap bass playing, I can't slap. I don't slap bass. I've been trying, and it isn't natural for me. But one thing I did pick up from Larry Graham is I play primarily with my thumb for everything, and it just feels so natural. And watching him play kind of inspired me to do that. I'm like, I can't slap, but man, it seems like sometimes the way he's playing, he's primarily just using that thumb with, and then using different sides, different parts of the thumb to kind of get some different tones. I was like, let me try that and see if that works. But aside from that, I mean, anyone who wrote, who played Thank You for Letting Me Be Myself can hang at my place anytime. So Larry Graham is my number 2. Who do you got? Why am I even bothering to friggin' ask? Who you got at number 1?
As they like to say, work the gimmick. And so my friend, number 1 of all time, the Nature Boy. No,
I was going to say Hulk Hogan. I mean, they did want him to be the bass player in Metallica, didn't they?
That's fair enough. Yeah. Geddy Lee. I'm going to put him at the top of my Mount Bassmore. He is the man, the myth, the legend. He is incredible to listen to, and I would highly recommend, if you have not listened to Rush and their discography, to do check them out, because all the way from the beginning through the end, he is a constant, and just blows your mind with the speed, the accuracy, the intensity that he plays with, and the artistry, musicianship that he plays with. So Geddy Lee is my number 1. No surprise there. What, sir, is your number 1 of your Mount Bassmore?
Well, before we get to my number 1, I want to say, like, of course, I have to play my part in the Gorilla Monsoon, Bobby the Brain Heenan dynamic that we have.
Yes.
I do want to recognize that Geddy Lee is an absolute monster. There is another reason why we do not play any Rush songs in my band, because I don't even know how to begin to learn how to play them, let alone play them and sing. That's the thing. Like, if you take Geddy Lee's vocal parts,
oh, jeez,
that's enough.
Yeah.
To figure out.
Yeah.
Then you take his bass parts, and then you realize it's the same friggin' dude doing both simultaneously, and in some cases playing, singing, and playing keys with his feet.
Yeah.
Kiss my ass is the expression that I use. No, that's a hard pass, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
So I just want to make sure that I am on record that, yeah, Geddy Lee is a monster of a player.
Thank you.
And should be duly recognized.
Thank you.
My number one on my Mount Bassmore, no surprise, Francis Rocco Prestia, the original Formula bass player, Tower of Power, just my favorite band of all time. So it just makes sense that's going to be at the top of the heap.
Too much of a fanboy.
I am, as you know. I mean, goodness knows, good thing you're not doing that at all. So I did want to point out, I did reach out to my friend John Burse, who sold me his bass and instantly regretted it. I did offer him to be on the show, but as usual, John, a man who would, in the funk band that we were in together, I would try and throw him a bass solo, and he waved me off 95% of the time. He would never want to take a solo, never wanted to really be pointed out, never had any inkling to speak on the microphone.
Yep.
There's a great recording of Bill Withers at Carnegie Hall, and he talks about his bass player, who I want to say was Melvin Hayes. He talked about him. He's like, cool, Melvin Hayes. He's like, Melvin said 6 words all last year. 5 of them were airport. I was like, I think this might be a bass player thing. And then I come along, just can't keep my mouth shut. I'm like, well, there's always got to be an exception to the rule. But he was kind enough to give me his Mount Rushmore of bass players. And they are as follows: Sting, Jocko, Geddy, and McCartney.
Oh, Sting is one that, I'm
and
kind of kicking myself for not including him, because Police, his work on the Police was incredible. I mean, his work overall is incredible, but I really enjoy the Police body of work. So,
oh no, it's fantastic. And again, it doesn't escape me that 3 of the 4, players there are lead singers / bass players. Yeah, Geddy, again, we have already talked about him. Paul McCartney, again, like, you go back to to Beatles stuff and realize, like, holy crap. Now, again, like, the later Beatles stuff, like, was not performed live, but there's no doubt that Paul could do it. And you listen to those bass parts, you're like, oh, you would play that and sing at the same time? You making the rest of us look bad. And actually, let me see. Did I get a response? I was asking somebody else, and nope, they're on a gig, so we don't get that one. But yes, so there is Mount Bassmore, the Idiots +1. There you have it. The
Very
greatest
nice.
bass players of all times, ladies and gentlemen. Trust us, we're idiots. We know.
Yes.
What do you have for and another thing for this show, sir?
Well, I had a show that I was gonna, or a movie I was gonna talk about, but I am gonna switch gears and, in light of our topic, downshift into something related to it. And so I want to highly recommend, if you have not listened to the album Signals by Rush, that you do so, because you will get a full-on display of the mastercraft of the man Geddy Lee. This album has a lot of classic Rush songs, Subdivisions, Digital Man, Losing It, just New World Man. This is kind of their transition from rock into a bit more of a keyboard synth sound, but it is really, really good. Especially Analog Kid and Digital Man are both just showcases of the man Geddy Lee, and just the very, very challenging and intricate bass playing that he does. As well as Subdivisions being, as Uncle Todd had pointed out, that sort of showcase of him not only playing guitar but also playing keyboards as well. So that is my and another thing, sir. The album Signals by the band Rush.
Shocking that we'd have a Rush recommendation at the end of this show.
Indeed. What is your and another thing, sir?
Baffled and befuddled. I'm going to go with
I'm as lost as a baby raccoon.
I was confused.
Oh, confused. I'm sorry.
I'm going to recommend Bootsy Collins' Blasters of the Universe. This is a 1994 album that apparently, if I remember the history of this album, a lot of this was like demos and stuff that had been recorded years before and was kind of brought out of the vault and then polished up and maybe added to, mixed and all that. I remember getting it as a 2 CD set back in 1994 when it came out, and it was kind of one of those mind-blowing experiences where I kind of started putting together like, oh, and this, oh, and this, oh, and this, oh, and oh, that, all kind of tied together. So you've got some P-Funk alumni on here. You got Eddie Hazel, who is a tremendous guitar player with P-Funk, and who passed away way before he should have. You got Maceo Parker, Fred Wesley playing on this. So much great stuff. If you're at all a fan of any kind of the P-Funk stuff, you definitely want to add this to your library. It is a great addition. And that, ladies and gentlemen, will do it for our show tonight, this week, whatever. This will be released on July 4th, so, happy Independence Day. Try to make it until July 5th with all 10 fingers. Just remember, when you think, man, maybe I ought to get some fireworks, somebody is enjoying their breakfast today with the last time they're ever going to have all 10 fingers. Don't be that guy. And if you would like to subscribe to our wonderful little sideshow of idiocy here on the interwebs, you can find us at freerangeidiocy.com. Download all of our episodes there. You can also subscribe to the Podbean app. You can also find us on all the major podcast purveyors. That'd be like Apple Music, Spotify, Pandora, Amazon, all of those. Go ahead and search for Free Range Idiocy. You'll find us. You can find us in full color HD video on Spotify, but also on our YouTube channel. And if you want to be part of the social media empire that is Free Range Idiocy, go to Facebook, the Instagram, YouTube. All of those are at Free Range Idiocy. Feel free to just like, subscribe, mash that whatever bell button. I don't know. I'm not with the kids. So we have no idea what the hell any of that means. We just know that when the numbers go up, it makes us feel all tingly inside. So then if you have any thoughts, questions, or concerns, you can send those to Tim at freerangeidiocy.com. He'll answer those. I just don't care. But he'll answer those because that's just the kind of swell guy that he is. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to head off into the sunset, but not before I hand the show off to the... Wow, that's some D'Lo Brown-ish, neck movement you got going there. He's been to the chiropractor this week, ladies and gentlemen.
I have.
Before we hand this off to the least idiotic of the two idiots who run this show, I want to just ask the second most important question in all of human history. The first, of course, being what is hip. The second being, what the hell did we learn this episode, if anything?
We have learned the following, my friend.
Ah, lovely.
We have learned that after a few weeks away, the idiots have a lot to say. 3+ hours, folks. We give you double double the content for the lack of the last 2 weeks. So there we have it.
We've essentially a podcast enema at this point.
Indeed. We've also learned that the man they call Tim, his bona fides are in order, filed, organized, and so forth. But he
collated.
He relies heavily on Uncle Todd, though, when it comes to the music department of his bona fides. I do appreciate Uncle Todd stepping in there. But his wrestling bona fides are definitely in order, and we look forward to SummerSlam and Evolution. That is, I should say Evolution 2 that is coming.
Oh, and don't forget Saturday night's main event, because we got to fit that in there, too.
Saturday night's main event as well. So we may have some more content in the Week in Geek on the wrestling front for you. We've also learned that Uncle Todd, way more versed across funk, soul, R&B, jazz, rock when it comes to bass players. Man, they call Tim. He is just going to settle right in. Geddy Lee, #1, every single time.
Yes, you could be living in a Geddy Lee guest house pretty soon.
I hope so. And we have also learned that Uncle Todd has survived his New York K-pop experience and has lived to fight another day. He survived the mass attack for the merch. He has secured apparently a 5 sizes too large piece of merch for his daughter.
I bought the size I was told.
Got to put it in the washing machine and shrink it down. With all that being said, oh, and we've also learned that the man they call Tim and Uncle Todd are fully in the bag for hearing that Punk and Seth Rollins are working us all as partners, as friends in what is going to be probably one of the great angles of 2025-2026. With all that being said, as we like to close things out here on The Range, be safe, be healthy, be kind, be good to one another. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. The range is closed for now. See ya.
It's like I picked the wrong week to quit drinking.
I beg your pardon, what did you say?
Damn!
You're such a disappointing pair. I prayed so hard for you.
Struck a nerve, have I? Which I find rather impossible to believe. You think this is over? This is not over! You have not heard the last! No more Mr. Nice Guys!
Beer. You can, and not just like jugs or creamsicle. Call me? She won't call.
Get out. And don't come back until you've redeemed yourselves.
So say we all.
So say we all.
So the one thing I wanted to do,
I miss the like Mussolini.
One thing I wanted to do from the Stray Kids concert. So
yes.
I kind of wanted to get a T-shirt for myself, just for memory's sake. So on the way in, you've got the bootleg T-shirt guys.
Okay.
And they're selling these things for like $30 or $20.
Okay.
And I was like, nah, no, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to get carried around and all that. Coming out, because the merch inside was not cheap. The thing that the shirt that I bought, it wasn't a shirt. It's a basketball jersey. Not cheap. Walked out of Citi Field. I kid you not, 10 feet from the door are the bootleggers. I'm like, usually you guys can't be on property, but apparently no one's here. They're selling their T-shirts $10, 50% off. And so I'm like, I'm tempted. But then I'm like, I wonder what's going to happen when we get out and we get across the street and there's a bridge we had to walk over to get to the hotel. I'm like, you know what? I'm wondering if there's going to be one lonely guy at the other end of that bridge, like $5, just take him.
Yeah, basically.
I was waiting for that, and they didn't have that. $10 was the lowest they went. So unfortunately, I did not get a Stray Kids T-shirt. I am full of whiskey and regret right now.
I'm sorry.
Which is also going on my epitaph.
Well, there you go. Uncle Todd, filled with whiskey and regret.
Yes.
Well,
that was sir, fun. Should we close this sucker out?
I think we should in due fashion. Oh, yes. I think that is well in order, sir.
You done did it.
Chaos should have put it in the vault.
Should have left it in the vault.
Should have put this one in the vault, man.
Yes, you should have.
Rev
it up.
Not ready.
Rev it up.
Drop this on right here. Y'all ain't ready for this. Y'all ain't ready for none of this. Your boy's a bad man. And we invading the streets, make them clap a rapper skirt. They be dropping the heat. Shock the world, now I'm standing
there it is.
I flip fools like them clamshell cellular phones. You can't help but nod your head
Yo.
to the track. The water down rap, we be taking it back.
Uncle Toddonomics.
Ain't no chasing it. Check yourself in the mirror, ain't no facing it.
Now get the hell